Welcome back to the Dynasty Grind. My name is Peter Howard at PA Howdy on Twitter, where we answer any and all Dynasty questions or comments for about 3 hours or until we get tired every Wednesday from 9:30 till, again, whenever we get tired or we hit the midnight mark. Post-draft, finally it happened. What the hell was that, to be honest with you? We got a lot to talk about. Me, Zachary, and Russ Fisher, if he gets here, if his daughter stops crying because he tried to feed her cheese. I don't know. There's a story there. I don't know what it is, but it's got to do with cheese and crying. And hopefully he turns up to let us know why. But currently he's not here. But me and Zach are going to try and break it down, talk about what all any of that meant. Welcome in. Hey, Zach, how you doing?
Not too bad. Nice shirt.
Thank you.
No, I would like.
It's the one and only. When Scott sold it to me, he was like, "This is the only one." You're.
I would like to go on record as saying that you can feed me cheese anytime, and I
never
be
cry
happy
from being fed cheese. I've got to say, it's never had that effect on me.
I feel bad though. Like that, it's always rough as a parent when you're having one of those nights. So hopefully Russ,
for sure.
Hopefully Russ overcomes and gets here.
Most nights were those nights for me, but I'm not a great parent, so yeah. What did you think of the draft? Not that I didn't speak to you during it for most of it.
I had a lot of fun. You saw 10 fantasy relevant players go in the first round. You saw 33 fantasy relevant players go in the first 3 rounds. Like, that's literally a third of the first 2 days were skill position fantasy relevant players. I mean, it seems like, Peter, that this may in fact have been a good class.
Well, it continues to be that if you know how you define it, kind of a thing, though. Because, we've got lots more players drafted than I even thought would have gone this year in the first round, let alone the first 3. And yet a lot of the landing spots and a lot of the draft capital for those running backs make you go, oh, okay, I get it. They're good, but they're not him, as it were.
Well, I mean, but how many classes do you have more than one Saquon Barkley level talent? Even in Saquon Barkley's class, there was only one. I think the best class that I can even remember is 2017, and you had 2.
Well, it's cleared up a lot now that Swift got traded, but the initial reaction when Gibbs, I was like, oh, okay, that's not great.
Oh no,
that's confusing.
You knew that they were going to have to ship Swift as soon as that happened.
I didn't know nothing.
Oh yeah, that was a definite like shell game. Like, okay, we got this guy, but we need to move him over here. But I just drafted Jordan Addison at the 105.
Oh, nice. I drafted Josh Downs share. I'm pretty happy with that.
Nice.
I've got Dalton Kincaid and Josh Downs. So
nice. My
drafts are shaping up on brand, as it were.
I'm not as high.
Someone's asking me on Twitter, and I had the same thing on my podcast talking to Pat today. A lot of people find it hard to trade the 101 for what the value should be. And Pat said that should be expected, frankly. It's not point scoring season, so just draft him. Kind of like we've been saying. If you can't get just trust me, the hype will come. The rank can't get any higher, maybe. But the hype, the excitement, the ability to make those trades can the minute he's scoring points.
Yeah, and especially in Atlanta where, again, no offense to Tyler Algier, but he just rolled off 1,000-yard season. And this is one of the best running back prospects that we've seen. Hey, there's Russ. How you doing?
Which way around you guys go?
Oh, it's cute. You two match.
I know you didn't get the memo. It was in the DM.
I have you both blocked, so it's a little awkward.
Oh, that's fair.
So the lesson I learned is that you should not take a really large brick of cheese and smush it in your daughter's face. Because
I mean, I do that. I was never told that's a bad idea.
what everyone else in the room thought was hilarious, she did not. So chances are I'm getting a text message in like 15 to 25 minutes and gonna have to leave to get yelled at by both my wife and my daughter. But I needed to show up because I missed last week.
We haven't tackled the question yet, so
Oh, who cares
Yeah.
about questions? I'm just happy to be here with you two. So,
Sorry,
I mean,
I
I
thought
haven't
you
said
guys
these-
had more in you. That's it? Okay, cool. Yeah, what did you think of the draft, Russ?
I'm glad I'm not a Seahawks fan anymore. That's what I thought of the draft.
You hate JSN that much?
I hate that they took JSN that much. I hate that they took Charbonnet that much. Like, what are they? What is their goal? What is their plan for that offense? Unless they just don't plan on doing anything to their defense, letting their defense be mediocre, and then them thinking that Geno can lead a top 10 offense.
I think Pete wants to run the ball more than he did last year, which is impressive.
But then why
I
do
tell you what,
you
something.
take Smith and Jigba in the first?
I don't know. He's good.
Oh yeah, he's good. I know, but like, so let him be good on a team that'll use him.
So all round, Zach Charbonnet, I've been arguing or discussing him politely with my DLF colleagues in the Slack all week. I don't get why he's ranked above Devin A-Chain. And
He
I was
shouldn't
thinking
be.
it was the same tier, but that's a different landing spot. But then I went and looked at redraft, those guys who are meant to care about the points this year, and they have him ranked over A-Chain as well. And Pat Kareem pointed out that they're both second-round running backs, and Ken Walker might not do, to our point about how much Pete likes to run the ball. He doesn't. He's a home run hitter, not a grinder. And they like Chris Carson, so it's not outrageous that he does get at least a split. I still prefer A-Chain, but it's a better argument than I thought.
Okay, so when we were asked as a community, pretty much, outside of Bijan and Gibbs, who's your next favorite running back? And, you know, everyone had a different answer. Like, you know, I like this guy, I like that guy. But the real answer always ended up being whoever lands in Miami. And then A-Chain, who was a bunch of people's RB3 or 4.
He was in the same, it's similar to, you know, similar
lands in Miami, and we're not thrilled for some reason.
Again, it goes back to that. It's a great class, but there's always something. Like the third round draft capital is what does it.
Oh no,
like,
this is the wait. This is a overrated class that is underwhelming.
Who said that?
Literally 4 people in rookie drafts so far.
Oh,
Okay.
Like I don't like I'm fighting Zach's fight here. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? Did you think we were getting 3 rounds of first round draft picks? Like, we have like what? 8?
There are 7 like locked and loaded picks that I am happy to like. I just offered a trade to trade back into the 6 or 7 pick in the draft that we're in currently, because there are players that I want to take there. And it's not that I don't want the next 4 guys, because I do. I just don't want them as much as I want the first 7. This is how drafts go.
I'm
Quick
finding
trade question. Lamar Jackson or Tua and a 25 first? It's Lamar Jackson, right?
Yeah, probably.
You took Addison over JSN?
I told you we've been talking about this for weeks. Go back and watch the show that we did with Bob.
I know that you said that I made the right choice when I did it, but I still just didn't think you would do it.
So again, I had Addison and JSN graded out like equally.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
So if you have 2 players who are of virtually equal talent, and one of them goes to a place where I think that it's going to be a year before he comes to fruition,
that's gonna,
and one of them is walking into a place where he has the ability to go earn targets right now because he should be on the field, then it's that one.
I agree, but it's like I didn't really assume when it came to. I haven't had to make the choice yet, but I assume when I'm on the clock, I'm probably going to panic and just take JSN.
So
But
what? So
I agree with everything you just said.
Here's what I wish I could have done at the 105. I wish I could have traded into the 107, kept the 105, but traded into the 107, taken Gibbs,
And then just take whichever wide receiver.
and then watch somebody get. Yeah,
I have the 104, and I tried to trade back to the 7, so someone else could make a decision for me.
and again, like it's not that I don't not want to make the decision. Like I want to pick at 5.
Yeah,
but I also want the pick at 7. I think the 7 may be the best pick in this entire, like, in terms of you're
it's the
getting
bottom
a
of the
player
tier and you're happy.
Yeah.
I'm also, I get that he's not in the same tier, but I'm still thrilled to walk away with Quentin Johnston at 8.
Oh yeah, Quentin Johnson,
Zay
Zay
Flowers is a
Flowers,
pretty decent shot.
But Zay Flowers, I'm cool taking the L on this one. Not that I think he's
where
bad
I am.
or anything, but like I want to see what that offense looks like. And if it does turn out to be what we want it to be, I'll pay the wait and see tax on it. Like I don't want to spend that high of a pick on him. And I'm
just hoping on my Bateman shares, and I'll take any of the other wide receivers before. But I will rank him there, but I'm probably taking,
And I cannot be sold on the idea of Kincaid that early.
No, and I can't either. But the one player that really shocks me at how far down the community has him, and I think it's all Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's fault, is Rashee Rice. Because I'm seeing Rashee Rice going mid to late second. I had him as
you took him at the 112 in the mock we did, right?
Yes. But pre-draft, I had him as my wide receiver 6 behind Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jordan Addison, Quentin Johnston, Booty, Flowers, and then Rashee Rice and Marvin Mims, who I like both of them a lot, and Josh Downs. Like, to me, that's all a tier. And to sit there and tell me that all of a sudden Rashee Rice gets second round capital, goes to Kansas City, and now his value is less than it was 2 weeks ago is
he was
wild
drafted in 2 trade addicts leagues, and he was drafted 1 at 15 and 1 at 20.
Yeah. The 20 is wild to me. The 15, that's fine. I can see where you would want. I mean, like, there are some players that I'm not going to fight you over, like Mims and A-Chain and Mingo. Like, I'm not going to fight you over that. But man, he's pretty good.
Will Levis too. Just to throw it out for Superflex. Like, again, we know what Will Levis is and what he isn't, or what we think he is and what he isn't. But like, he's an afterthought right now, and in the Superflex league, that's great.
Yeah, I'll take Levis right now at 10.
Yeah,
and be happy.
And he's not going there. Like, DLF has him ranked 20th overall as a rookie. I've got him 14th, which still feels like you're running a risk there.
Earliest 10, latest 13 in trade addicts leagues.
Yeah, but your guys are plugged in.
Yeah, but it's the information I have in front of me.
I wouldn't say I'm that plugged in. I stared at Rashee Rice forever, and I knew it was too low, but I've got him like 24th overall. Like,
that's wild, Peter.
I'm gonna take the running backs. I tried.
But
nah.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. Like, you're taking all of you're taking Charbonnet and Spears and Roshan Johnson and Kendrick Miller, and
it's I'm taking Kincaid, Levis, Porter, Meyer, Bigsby, obviously Roshan, Miller, then even Jaden Reed. I've even got Jaden Reed above him. It's hateful. I know that's probably too low.
We got in the Dynasty Trade Calculator Listener League. Kane and I share a team for Dynasty Wall Street. We just got Tank Bigsby at the 305 in a 12-team Superflex league.
It's hot. Hey, remember on this show when we used to answer questions? I just
let's do
realized we
that.
were doing the grind. I thought we were just doing the thing. I'm in mid draft coverage mode,
This is the Dynasty Dummies Day 2 draft show, part 74.
Part 74.
Let's go.
Benjamin Siegel, what's up, gents? Happy rookie draft season. Just wanted to be able to celebrate with you guys, figure out my first ever 3-sided trade. It's 12-team super flights, half-point PPR, 1.5 PPR for tight ends, so it's a tight end premium. Side A gives CD Lamb and a 25-second, and it doesn't matter, Rashid. Saheed gets the 104, the 105, and the 103. Let's do it side by side. What's that trade look like to you? CD and a 25-second for the 4, the 5, and a 3rd.
Yeah, so a quarterback in your pick of Gibbs and Jigba or Addison.
Yep, feels solid.
I think I just take CD, by the way.
I don't mind that. I don't mind getting the quarterback.
For a quarterback, I'd do that.
Yeah, I get it, but I think I'm at the point with these quarterbacks where I am just settling on not trading back into them like that. Like I've gotten a couple of offers like that with my CeeDee Lambs and AJ Browns and like those wide receiver 3 through 6-ish guys of like the 104 and the 107. And I'm just like, I get it. I really like the players I will get in that, but I'm just going to hang on to my stud wide receiver at this point.
Well, side B of the trade got the 4, the 5, and the 3. Wait, that's the same thing. How did side
B gives for the 5.
Oh, gives the 4, 5,
and
gets Burks. And Burks gets CD Lamb and the 106.
Yeah,
that's a quarterback, wide receiver.
No, that's probably
Burks.
Right. Well, that's what we just talked about. Giving up.
Yeah. For CD Lamb and the 106.
Gets Lamb and Gibbs or JSN.
Yeah, that's probably solid. Yeah.
Side C gives up 106.
That 6 could well become not a quarterback or just another wide receiver, though. So I kind of prefer the other side of it. But all right. Side C, the 106 gets Burks and a 25-second, and gives the 106.
I think I'd rather have the 106 than Burks and the 2nd.
It's closer. It's paying up for Burks, but at least he got the 2nd. It's fine. But yeah, I don't love it. I think the 4, the 5, and the 3 was a clear win here. The 4, the 5, and the 3. And then the CD and the 106 is fine. And then the Burks side got the worst end of the deal there. But yeah, pretty solid 3-way trade.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's upset about it. But
I'm upset about it.
I'm sorry.
I haven't done a 3 trade in a while, and I'm jealous.
Fair enough. I haven't done a 3-way in a while.
I would say I like how you quickly edited yourself midstream.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a minute.
Hey, boys. Made a trade in the rookie draft today. 12-team Superflex. The 1.08, Addison off the board. Nice. Traded the 108 and the 208 for the 205 and 24 first. Took Rice over Mims at the 205. Thoughts? My thoughts is this is exactly why I don't like trading back in a rookie draft. Like, just give me Addison.
No, Addison was off the board.
So 108, we're looking at Johnston or Flowers.
Yeah.
So
okay, it's fine. Yeah.
I still
outside of Addison. Yeah,
I'd still hang and take Quentin Johnston and whatever I get at the 208 over. Like,
I want more coming back to me, or not to have to give up my 2nd if I'm doing this trade. Like, especially the 108, where they're still, again, not that I have to like top tier, because I get it. Bijan's a tier to himself. The quarterbacks are a tier to themselves. But like, there's a top tier of talent that we care about in this draft, and it's the first 7 picks. And I get that you are 1 pick after that, but there are still players I like enough that it's not that point where I'm like, all right, well, whatever, I'll just trade back to next year and call it a day. Like, you should get decently more than just a random
I think those first 7 were gone, though. And since he got Mims, which I don't think is a bad discount price, if you
he took Rice over Mims at the 205.
and you get another first next year. I think you did it about right, to be fair, since Addison was off the board. But yeah, in general, I kind of want to see what Quentin or I guess say Flowers has to do. But yeah,
And I guess
I'm
that is
with
also
him. I
the
kind of like
personal
this.
preference, right? You know, we like the
Yeah,
we like
it's
the
where your
players.
tiers
Maybe
are,
they
yeah.
don't.
Yeah. All right. Chris Greenwood, 12-team half-point PPR Superflex. I have Lamar, Burrow, Brees, Swift, DJ Moore, Godwin, and Olave. Also,
One. I wonder if that's the 101.
I'm assuming.
The 104,
Could be
the
one
107,
block
the
of
108,
cheese.
the 110. How would you draft knowing Bijan and Gibbs go 1 and 2?
You take the best player that's on the board.
Yeah, we don't really adjust who we want to draft. We might be more or less interested in trading based on what we have on our team. And it looks like you're getting at least one quarterback and then 2 of those wide receivers we're just dithering over. The 10, you guys said you didn't want to go that high on Kincaid, so I guess you're not taking a tight end there.
Absolutely not taking a tight end in the first round unless it's a high premium. And that does not look like it has a high premium.
So Will Levis?
Yeah, in a super flex, probably.
Yeah. 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers?
No.
Probably, depending on
I
how your draft
also
goes.
don't hate taking A-Chain at the 10.
Nope.
A-Chain's-
So the 110 to me, there is this group of I'll take Levis, I'll take Rice, I'll take Mims, I'll take A-Chain, I'll take Mingo. Like any of those players I'm happy with at that point. I think that there's a pretty good tier right there. And then after that tier, then I'm into the tight ends. So
Nate.
tight ends and running backs, Hendon Hooker, that area.
Lakers ex-Commanders. I took Quentin Johnson over Addison. Did I mess up? Yes.
tough.
According to
Well,
me, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it's,
I mean,
it's hard to say. Like I don't think that you got a bad player in Quentin Johnson.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
No.
I took Addison at 105 with Jackson Smith and Jigba, Gibbs, Addison, Quentin Johnston still on the board. I am that ensconced in my belief in Addison.
Again, it depends how you like to play. If you want to play them, I look at it this way. If you could trade back and didn't, but took Quentin Johnson, that's the only way of messing up, because you probably could have traded back a couple of spots and then taken him, sure. But not those trades aren't always available. And maybe in your league, someone would have taken Quentin Johnson. So if you think those two things are possible, then you did what you should do. If you can't trade back, it's too risky to trade back, then you took the player you prefer. There's no way of messing up there. If you're asking who I would have taken, yeah, it would have been Addison. But I mean, hell, man, I took David Bell last year. Don't be taking that too personally.
The process.
Simple trade. Let's hope so. DeAndre Swift or a late 23 first? A late 23 first in a 12-team Superflex. Emerging from a rebuild but have no running backs, will be drafting Bijan. I think it's Swift.
Yeah.
Yeah. What team did he go to?
If Philadelphia? If it's after the 107, then yes, which I assume it is since it says late.
There you go.
I do that.
Russ,
you're quiet.
Sorry, I'm a little zoned out at the
I was
moment.
enjoying it.
That's okay. No, I just didn't know you. I didn't know if you were like.
What is good enough to get as a plus to go from JSN to Addison? Anything?
It's real close, especially with more expectation year one from Addison. So, like,
I honestly,
third.
I'm not moving.
Honestly, hearing you guys
like
talk
third.
really makes me anxious about my JSN rank. Like, that's how close it is. I'm like, oh no, if other people are going to take Addison when JSN's still on the board, I should flip him because I want Addison a lot. I've been saying that for months.
Yeah, but they're both great.
Well, and so here's the thing. Like, I think you could get Addison at the 107 pretty regularly, but in leagues where I can't move down, I'll make the pick. Like, that's fine. I'm happy with.
Are you putting Gibbs over? Sorry, Zach. Are you putting Gibbs above them too because of what you said about JSN's landing spot? So I know you're breaking ties to running back, so you went JSN, but now with this expectation,
it's still JSN. Like it's still JSN for me, but that's how I build. But I do think that Gibbs is an interesting play now, where they traded Swift, they spent that really high capital. Like I think Gibbs is a really interesting play. And if you want the sure points this season, I think it's Gibbs.
And something that got me thinking about it was your micro market thing. Like Gibbs is going to have more. He's just going to have more between now and next season, probably. But again, not a strong trader. I don't get a lot done in time, and so I tend not to lean that way. But there's a strong argument where if your league is heavy trading, if you're Russ Fisher, for example, taking JSN could be the wrong move.
And see, I think
you can get him cheaper later.
I think the Gibbs and Addison is kind of the arbitrage between the two. So like JSN, I don't take Addison. JSN, I don't think you're going to get the points this year, or as much as you want. Gibbs, I think you're getting the points, but you're not getting the young wide receiver. I think with Addison, you're going to get some. You're probably not as many points as Gibbs, but points, and you get the good young receiver. I mean, like I really think he's going to step into a big role in Minnesota.
Flowers, you mean?
No, Flowers. No, if he steps into a role in Minnesota, then he's getting traded from Baltimore.
I thought Flowers was one when I'm really.
Flowers went to Baltimore.
Brain skipping.
Flowers, Baltimore.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah.
You're more likely to be able to grow flowers in Baltimore than you are in Minnesota. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, okay. That's an easy mnemonic. I appreciate that.
By the way, Peter,
you guys look like twins.
This must be you and Russ.
I've always said that today, Peter. It looks like wavy and like it looks wonderful today.
It's not, if it helps. But thank you. Hello, gents. Hello, Chris. Thanks very much. Same scenario. I've forgotten the original one, but okay. I have the following trade in his inbox: Pitts and for the 104. And a super flex. His team was a super flex. That's close. That's close. I think it's probably the third best quarterback. So Stroud for most people, Richardson for me. I know I'm leaning Pitts. Higgins for the 104. See, both of those are damn close here, and I'm leaning the players just as default. CeeDee Lamb for Godwin and the 108 and the 207.
Okay, so
CeeDee Lamb there.
Pitts and Higgins for the 104 to me are even. They are right. The higher the premium on tight ends, if there is one. I'll lean Pitts. There's not.
It doesn't look like it's half point PPR. It doesn't say anything about premium.
That makes it a little. Okay, maybe I'll lean quarterback at that point then. CeeDee Lamb I would definitely take CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, that's the one. That's
CeeDee Lamb's the easy one, yeah.
But depending, which I don't necessarily always like the answer because it's like a cop out. Pitts or Higgins for the 104. Like if you're set at quarterback and you need, which you don't need anything right now, because if the value is close enough, you take what you like more, which means me, I'm going to end up with Higgins on my team again. Like I think the values on those are fair enough, but you also have to find, let's take into account the future. Let's take into account that quarterbacks are going to gain value. Let's take into account that the cheapest you could ever get quarterbacks is in a rookie draft. I don't freaking care. Give me T. Higgins on my damn team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we assumed.
But
Pat Rick.
Oh no, I was just saying the other thing is that 104, knowing Bijan and Gibbs go 1 and 2, that is either Richardson or Young, which means
wait, what? Stop. I missed that.
Yeah, I forgot that bit.
Oh, yeah. So he's got 104. How would you draft knowing that Bijan and Gibbs are going 1 and 2?
And we're sure this is a super flex league.
We are sure this is a super flex league, half point PPR.
That probably does swing it towards the picks, especially for Higgins.
Hey, never mind. I feel a little stronger with it because I
do the CeeDee Lamb one, Chris. trade the 108 Godwin and the 207,
Yeah.
get CeeDee Lamb and be very happy, and then draft the best quarterback available.
Or you wait.
Or
You
trade.
see what
Yeah.
happens, because if someone takes Stroud or Young first, there's going to be someone that wants that upside of Richardson if you don't want it.
Yeah.
If someone takes Richardson, you get your choice of Stroud or Young. And then if there are people that do have a strong feeling on one way or the other on those two quarterbacks. I don't have that strong of a feeling between the two, but like there might be in your league, in which case maybe you sort of leverage that a little bit. Like you can absolutely wait till the 104 is on the clock for any of this. But if you want to do it now, yeah, you do that Lamb trade.
He's a CD1 Lamb no matter what, by the way, Chris.
Yeah,
and
and
that one we're just doing. I would.
Whatever you feel is best for your team, you do the other. Like that's because I think the value is insanely fair on the rest of it.
Fair. Pat Rick, give Dubs in the 112, get Dotson in the 207. I don't hate this, but I
I'll
don't
take Dotson in the
get it.
207.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Yeah. I think it's Dotson in the 207, but like I don't quite get like it's fine. Yeah, Dotson on the 207. Yeah.
So let me put players to it, Peter, for you. So Dubs and get Dubs and A-Chain, or Dotson and Bigsby.
Dotson and Bigsby. Even though I like A-Chain that much better, Dubs to me is nothing at this point.
Yeah.
Like Dubs is worth way less than the 207. And Dotson should probably be worth around the 112, if not maybe a little more at this point.
Yeah, I'd rather have the 112 than Dotson, but I think I'd rather have the Dotson side of this.
Yeah.
Yo, where is your T-shirt?
I think that's me because I'm not wearing it. But I am actually wearing a shirt that says the world's most okayest fantasy football player.
He had a cheese incident.
That's what my family thinks of me.
12 team Superflex. I got Barkley in the 109 and 212.
For the 109 and 112.
For the 109 and 212.
112.
Superflex. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. Like in a Superflex, that's Barkley.
Baller.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're building like Zach, that's trading a running back later, a few years into his career, even if it is a great running back for younger wide receivers. And maybe
but I don't want
it's outside the tier.
Yeah,
there's an argument for it. I'm just saying.
But when I'm trading a Barkley, I want an actual proven young wide receiver. I don't want picks.
Yeah.
So
like,
it's or Barkley, if I can get one of them and a pick. So like if I could trade Barkley and get like London and the 112, then I'm happy.
Okay. But did you see the deal that Matt Price got on the 101 in the DLF Pods League, by the way? He got done finally.
I saw exactly what he got.
Okay.
Oh,
it was Chris Olave and
Chris Olave, a 24 second and a 25 first. Felt okay about it.
12 team 1QB half point PPR. Jalen Hurts versus the 110, the 205, and the 20 and the 301.
Even if
in a 1QB, I get it, but I think it's just Hurts.
It's very much Hurts.
Yeah, he's one of the guys that provides an advantage at that position. One of the few.
You got it.
Even in 1QB, that kind of makes sense.
And the 205 and the 301 do not provide
the draft. Yeah.
What about
Walker? Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's my thought. Walker's the guy, but
it's not great for either of them. Luckily, we've been on board with trading Walker since he's been the running back 3 for.
And of course, the one team I have him on, I haven't been able to move him, and now I'm just sort of stuck.
Is that Olympians?
Or did I move him? I moved him.
I don't know. I tried to trade for him in Olympians, and you laughed at me.
Well, you send me a better offer next time. Yeah, I moved him.
Russ is so mean.
What did I do?
Good job.
Oh, I got Josh Allen. Kyler Murray, Ken Walker, and Michael Pittman for Josh Allen.
Yeah, I like that one. That was a good one for you.
That was after the draft.
Yeah.
Wow. And then I got Steph Diggs for Daniel Jones. That felt like a good
you have crushed the Olympians League. Like it's going to get ugly the next couple of years. Like I had a competitive team, and it is no longer competitive, and I didn't do anything.
That's what J Mike gets for doing that to TA6. I needed to do it to another league he's in. Mr. Mole, 12
I'm
team,
not in
one
these
quarterback,
leagues, in case you're
PPR,
wondering.
start 7.
I don't get to play with them.
No, you don't. Roster size 18. That's really small. Plus 2 taxi. Need hammers in this format.
Mm.
Give the 103 and the 106 for Hurts. That's a lot. No.
In a one quarterback,
Like
that's that's a lot.
Oh, start 7 though. No, because I think Addison can be one of those starters.
Yeah, well, and you get a quarterback at 106, right? If you want one.
Wait, are we sure? Is the next message this
Hurts? Yeah,
also?
Mr. Mole. Hurts.
Yeah. It was some bullshit.
That was Charbonnet.
Yeah, that was some bullshit. I keep the picks.
I do too, because I think you get so again. It's gonna go.
Oh, it would be fun to take Richardson at 6.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, why not? You get the big swing for upside there.
Yeah, and because Bijan, Gibbs, JSN, Addison, and then we're talking. That's when we're at Quentin. That's when we're at QJ and Flowers, right?
Flowers. Yeah,
I would rather take the shot at. In that league setup, I would rather take that at Richardson.
Just Richardson, though, not like let's not get crazy about the other quarterback.
Oh no! Literally just Richardson.
Yeah.
Yes, because he's the dude. With
if you need a hammer,
don't
go drafting a screwdriver. Yeah.
If you need a hammer, don't go drafting a screwdriver. I'm putting that on a freaking t-shirt.
Yeah, I like
life lessons from the Dynasty grind. I got Walker in a Dynasty startup at the 401. Should I be happy or upset?
No, that's really good.
I think it's okay in the fourth, but generally, I think the draft should have made it worse. But it's fine.
I'd be happy with that because he still should be a decent RB2 with weekly upside. Like he's still a good running back.
Yeah, the cool thing about him is he can break any play at any time for a touchdown. I
was listening to Late Round QB recently, and he was talking, and JJ Zacharyson was talking about how that Charbonnet is that ground and pound, the grinder guy who they're going to put in, and then change of pace, weirdly enough, is Kenneth Walker, even though he's not a pass catcher, so that's weird.
I mean,
but yeah, like
we think of Walker is more established, but he's still just another second-round running back pick. It's not.
Yeah, like that's really what it is, and it's really funny, like because I came into hearing about Algier, but it's been the same thing with running backs, like having not first-round capital and just being good isn't really enough to keep your job. Like remember, like Jordan Howard and every Rams running back until they got Todd Gurley. Gio Bernard, like all of these running backs, and even Jeremy Hill, who was doing really well. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, running back is just the most easily replaceable position. It's kind of crappy, but it's the truth. Like, you need to be excellent or have just done something to make your coach love you to be able to keep your job unless you are elite. And we learned that a lot this draft.
Alex,
you guys have previously. Oh, sorry. I thought you were trying to go, but no, go. Keep talking. Sorry, I was trying to help and I screwed up.
It's fine. Alex wants to know if we made any trades pre-drafts because we're constantly on our high horse about trying to do that for these draft picks. I just looked it up real quick. DLF pod leagues. I traded the 112 and Aaron Rodgers for Lamar Jackson. That's not trading in. But it was taking advantage of the Lamar Jackson window, I think, and I feel pretty good about that one. I think I gave up something else. Oh yeah, I traded away 2 101s
recently.
Yeah,
I traded away 2 101s and I traded for a 101. But otherwise, I don't think I've done all that many draft pick trades specifically.
I traded. See, I'm not making trades for the draft pick, so I don't think they count. But traded Dallas Goedert in the second for George Kittle. I feel pretty good about that. But that was for George Kittle, not for the draft pick. The only one I've made most recently, that wasn't pre-draft, that was in draft because it's a contract league and kind of complicated, is John Bosch doesn't want any players on his team. I think he finds that funny because you can operate that way. He just wants all his money. So he gave me his 23 first for my 24 first, which just ended up being Josh Downs. I only took it because there's literally no difference between the two. John just doesn't want players. And I quite wanted Josh Downs, so I did that.
Yeah. I'm sad a little for that landing spot, though. It's mostly just because I thought Alec Pierce would have a shot, and I like Josh Downs better than Alec Pierce.
Yeah, I was trying to get in on that trade if they don't add anyone. Alec Pierce ran routes, and he still did, and he still could be a top 36 wide receiver or something. But yeah, I'd rather have Downs at this point. Yeah. I like A-Chain a lot. Can't teach speed. I hear that. Actually, you can to us. Isn't that what trainers and stuff are for?
Yes, every single NFL player literally does that before the combine.
Yeah. But the point's well taken now. Sorry. I'm not saying it wrong. You can't take me and turn him into A-Chain, put it that way. DJ Moore plus the 206 or the 106 and the 303.
In trade
super flex would matter here, but Karen.
It absolutely would. I would take DJ Moore over the 1 QB 106, but actually no, I probably wouldn't. What did we say? The 106 is Flowers-ish. No, I would think I would stick with DJ Moore at that point. But in Superflex, in the TradeX League, DJ Moore for the 108 straight up happened. And we all picked the 108. So I think we're picking the 106 here for sure.
Yeah, I think if it's
assuming Rocky and our guest from Tuesday show up right now, we'd pick the 106.
Yeah, and 1 QB DJ Moore, Superflex, I'd probably take the 106, but A-Chain gonna hurt a lot of people keeping him away. It does seem weird that he's not just under Charbonnet, like he's faded. He's early second round. According to DLF rankers, below Mims I kind of get, Meyer I kind of get, but it's below Kendre Miller as well. It's just like if I'm going to take a running back, it's going to be
A-Chain way above Kendre Miller. Though I like Miller there though.
Yeah, it's just a little low. Sorry, he's too small. Charbonnet shouldn't have went to Miami.
Well, he didn't.
Charbonnet should have gone to Miami. Yeah, A-Chain.
I mean, that would have been amazing if he did, but he didn't.
We can just be bitter about it. It's fine.
This is the strongest anchor bias that I have seen about a draft class in a long time. I mean, that's why Charbonnet is still going so high. It's why A-Chain's going so low, because you had so many people talking about Charbonnet as the running back 3 and so many people screaming A-Chain is too small. And like there literally was not a better landing spot that A-Chain could have gone except for maybe Denver.
Yeah.
For us to be excited about him. And there weren't very many Charbonnet landing spots that could have been worse for him, but people are still anchored to the pre-draft analysis.
I think there's a lot of, and Bigsby's just getting lost in the mix because of it. Like Jaden Reed, I liked him kind of a little bit pre-draft. I'd love to take credit for that draft capital, but I faded on talking about him, put it that way. But he got really high draft capital, a decent landing spot, and he too is in like the early third round right now. There's going to be some adjustment over the next month as people realize they're going to be, held to account.
And maybe this is how I play draft capital. Is it does not change whether I think a player is good.
No,
and I think Jaden Reed is fine, but I don't think he's very good. I'm not excited about Jaden Reed. I will gladly.
He's not Addison. He's not Quentin Johnson. That's not an insult. Yeah,
he's not. But to me, he's not Flowers. He's not Rashi Rice. He's not Marvin Mims. He's not Mingo. He's not Josh Downs. Like, he's below all of them. And so I don't have him. I will not take him before the third round, even though he got second round capital. So he's a player that I'm excited that other people are going to draft.
I think there was something to his profile. I had him in the third round, I think, pre-draft, and the fact that he got hired, I just mean that guy usually rises up the board. When you get a little draft capital. But he did not. What do you mean? Sorry, I've long forgotten what I was talking about. Brian, 12-team Superflex start 8, 1.5 tight end premium on a rebuild. He's got AR 101, Anthony Richardson 101. Okay, and then traded the 24 first, expected to be late, and the 212 to get Addison.
Okay, so real quick, having
second
nothing to do with this question. On the same line, you have 1.1 and then 1.10. You realize those are the same thing, right?
Well, he's saying 101. Yeah.
1.01.
What is he saying?
I know. The 1.01. I know.
Like below, there's 305 and 404.
Yeah.
It happens to me in Excel all the time. I get it. It's fine.
In Excel is why I know to do it. That is why I know to put leading zeros. You have to. Yeah.
I think we can give Brian a little room that was just here. Okay, he's just asking a question on a silly little live stream. If my Twitter account can look the way it does, he doesn't have to groom his comments. Okay. Yeah, it's Addison, by the way. I think it's just Addison.
He already made that trade. He already made that trade. He wants to know what to do with the 305 and the 404.
I mean, trade him for a second next year, or take some really good shots at
tight end.
The depth of this class. I don't think. Yeah, there's a few tight ends: Musgrave, Kraft, Washington. If you're still interested in the third round.
Tucker Kraft to me.
Bigsby. I take it back. Tank Bigsby. Hope Tank Bigsby's there.
Yeah, I mean, if he's there at the 305, you win. But maybe he will be. But that to me is the Tucker Kraft. I think the Tucker Kraft and Musgrave, it reminds me a lot of what happened in Baltimore a few years ago when Andrews was drafted as the second tight end, but was in my estimation, clearly the better tight end.
I can tell you my shopping list. Maybe that's like if you've got these third, fourth round picks, and you look, the ones I have my eye on is Bigsby, like we said. I also do like Jaden Reed down there in the third, because that's pretty decent. Then the tight ends. You've also got Deuce Vaughn. Would not mind a shot in the third round at Deuce Vaughn, let alone the fourth round. And then it goes straight to Keyshawn Boutte.
That's
the guy you want to add down there. And you just who's left of the shopping list, and you make your own, but that's the way I would play those picks. You just make those, okay, which are the ones I really want to try and get into.
Even when you get down to closer to the fourth, like Eric Gray and Chase Brown are pretty good running backs in not great situations.
Sean Tucker, take a shot on Sean Tucker. I mean, why not in the fourth?
Yeah.
Get off it,
no?
Peter.
Okay.
Nobody drafted him.
UDFAs
matter.
They never go anywhere, Peter.
What about Kenny McIntosh?
I will turn this stream right around, young children.
Kenny McIntosh, Seattle running back, because Seattle didn't have enough running backs.
Yeah, he's not bad. Yeah, they just need a few extra.
Yeah.
They don't have the. But yeah, there's a bunch of guys down there. Perry, everyone else is gone.
I didn't think this was a bad. Like this draft was not as bad as some that have happened.
No, there's been so many worse drafts than this one, but I greatly appreciate the sentiment in this one.
2016 was awful. Was not a fun draft class to like. 2019 was awful. In fact, I think that 2019 was the one that I wrote the parody. This draft stinks.
Draft stinks.
Yeah.
I knew it was all Russ's fault. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, this adds up for me.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yep.
That's going on a t-shirt. Stuffed a block of cheese in my face to like, right? That's a t-shirt word at the moment. I need a QB for my Superflex league. You don't need anything, Colin. You've got yourself, but whatever. Is trading Waddle for the 102 a good trade? In a Superflex, I'm assuming 102 for Waddle.
I want more.
It doesn't sound great, but you get your choice of quarterbacks, right? So it's probably okay.
If they throw me a low-end wide receiver
Probably need a plus
kind of guy,
Yeah.
like I'm still going to use him. Like throw me Jerry Jeudy, and I'll be okay with it. Even though his value may have gone a little too high at this point to use him, but that's just who I'm used to using at this point. My brain won't move on. But I need something on top of that.
It's probably fairish, but I think I need a wire. I think Russ is right. You need a little block of cheese on top, just stuff it in my face. No, it's gonna keep going back. I'm gonna make it a thing. I'm grabbing up the rice. Yeah, he's a good grabber upper. That's for sure.
I wish to be gobbling rice.
I love rice myself. Colin too little for Waddle. Oh, he was talking to Colin. Yeah, and we agree. Look at that. Jacob, the 108, the 208, 24 first, 24 second for Kyler. Yes. In a Superflex, yes. Even not in a Superflex, I think that's pretty good. But probably too much. The 23 picks should be mid to late. Hopefully you would know what the 23 picks are right now, so I'm assuming you're talking about the 24 picks. But yeah. What do you guys think? The 108 plus 2 seconds.
In Superflex?
Yeah, that's what yeah.
If it's Superflex, it's Kyler.
Yeah, 2 first for Kyler. Yeah. I'd take Kyler.
Oh, it is 2 firsts and 2 seconds. Sorry.
It is.
I can't help being a flawed human, Zach. Okay, it's just the way I'm built. I like Marvin Mims over.
I'm just here trying to help Pete. You don't know Johnny Dim Sum?
I do not.
You should if you listen to
my
the
goodness, Peter. I'm hurt. I am hurt.
Sorry. Blanking.
Don't worry, he's pulling it up.
Got the better draft capital. Curious your guys' thoughts. If you don't know who Johnny Dim Sum is, see? You're at
but also I love the landing spot for Min.
That was my favorite part. Peter didn't read ahead. He started saying, if you don't know
excited.
Who Johnny Dim Sum is. Yeah.
So what are your guys' thoughts?
I have Mims still ahead of Mingo. But it's like I got Rice, Mims, A-Chain, Mingo. Probably should have A-Chain above them, but I don't.
You could change that.
I have Mingo so low it should be some kind of hate crime. So
why so low on Mingo? Why are you so low on Dim Sum? Hey, Dim Sum.
I'm just naturally a hater, I think.
That is a very fair statement. This is absolutely one of those situations where it happens. Like the landing spot of players especially players who can be seen as exciting, which Dim Sum can be.
Hong Chow eggplant, baby.
That'll boost them more than it should. But it's a great narrative of Mingo joining with a rookie quarterback so they can grow together. But Mims, the best one of the best deep ball guys with the best deep ball thrower. Give me that all day. I get it. But Mingo will get drafted higher than Mims every single time.
The other part of this is draft capital is not necessarily 1-for-1. It's not like Mingo getting taken at pick 39 and Jaden Reed going at pick 50. It doesn't make him 11 picks better to draft in fantasy football. It doesn't. That's not how this works. You're looking for a team to spend a second round pick on them. And then, yes, there is some I know Scott Connors has done some work on post pick 50, and there are a lot of flops, and of course there are, but there are also fairly easily identifiable hits and flops. So, like,
Mingo's a good player to draft given his draft capital. If you're really comfortable taking advantage of micro markets, I'm going to put him in that bucket because he could do something. And the capital, like Zach says, isn't exactly a 1-for-1, but it's a better path to opportunity than I definitely would have expected. And he can do stuff that impresses on a play, a catch in a game, and then immediately you've got an opportunity. I have him ranked below an undrafted free agent, at least one of them. Like I don't think he works out long term, despite for fantasy.
Can you
despite the fact he
enlighten
might dazzle
as to which UDFA?
I don't know. I don't have draft capital pulled up in here. Let's see. Who have I got ahead of Mingo? Obviously, JSN, Quentin Flowers, Josh Downs, Marvin Mims, Jaden Reed, Tank Dell, Rashi Rice, Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman, and then Keyshawn Butte.
Those were all drafted.
Yeah, I may have lied. I will find an undrafted free agent and I'll put him in
hater,
there. No, what it is I'm using DLF ranks to create a draft board.
Lie to us, Peter Howard.
They don't rank everyone I rank because no one's going to draft him. Like Josh Wild doesn't have an ADP, even though I have a rank for him. So it's like, oh well, fun. But yeah, those are the wide receivers I have ahead that are, relatively likely to be drafted. I will find an undrafted free agent being listed and put him above just to make myself not a liar. Would you prefer Purdy, Ritter, James Cook, 224 first and 224 seconds over Lamar Jackson? No.
Oh my, just give me Lamar. Like
at that point, yeah,
like
about halfway through.
Here, take this bag of rocks with 2 of them are shiny.
I am still honestly shocked James Cook still carries draft capital. Like 3-4 games into that. Oh, look, definitely everyone that was hyping up this non-receiving back to be a great receiver was not correct. I was done. I was like, okay, we're done here. And still, I see narratives like the draft was great for James Cook. I mean, so was being drafted, and that didn't seem to happen. So, I don't get it.
Here's the question, though. Do you think that you could take the 224 firsts, James Cook and Ritter, and put that together that's not very far off from the deal we just saw for Kyler? And then you come out with Kyler in 2 seconds and Purdy?
I'm going to put that in the I'm not comfortable I can execute that well. But yeah,
that should not be accepted. If don't get me wrong. I saw Bob talking about this elsewhere, and I have no idea if it actually if it was like a done deal, but like I would not take that bag of nickels for Lamar Jackson.
Was that a Buffalo joke? A Buffalo nickel with James Cook?
No.
Okay, just checking.
There's one clever person between the two of us, Zach, and it's not this one.
Was that Peter? He's right in there between. Yeah.
Maybe it's neither of us.
Yeah.
I probably did it. Spock 498. The 104, the 105, and the 108, or Justin Fields and the 203.
12-team Superflex standard scoring.
Then take Fields.
Standard scoring, no PPR. That what is that?
That's a take Fields.
So you're talking so Young, because Stroud is usually the last one taken, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Stroud, Gibbs, and
wildly.
Like at that point, you take Quentin Johnston because he's at least a deep guy, so hopefully you get some touchdowns, or Justin Fields.
And then a running back at 203.
Yeah. I was trying to spell it out and see how I felt about it. Yeah, no, I think I just take Justin Fields.
Standard is wild, Spock. Like that definitely makes us think.
Yeah. I don't even remember the last time seeing someone talk about a standard league. Is the next question a touchdown?
Perfectly fine. Sixers rot. I'm sure they do. I'm sure they're happy about it. Spock 498. AJ Brown and the 107 or Jamar Chase?
And this is the same league.
Just give me Chase, probably.
So AJ Brown and Addison or Chase. Just give me Chase.
In a standard league. Dang.
Still just give me Chase.
I mean, I'm not even sure who the 107 is in a standard league because the wide receivers become so much less interesting.
But
some of them.
So Gibbs will go at 105.
Or to the tight ends.
Oh yeah, like tight ends are like non-existent except for the top like 3. So Gibbs will go 5. How high do you push up A-Chain? Here, do you put him over JSN or
in a standard scoring league?
I don't know what I'm thinking.
Because he's on Miami.
He's not, but he's a pass catcher in Miami. He's not.
That's true, actually.
No, he'll be the Mostert.
Mostert ran the ball.
Some.
He ran the ball really fast.
I was like, who does standard rankings? And the only place I could think of was honestly, Fantasy Pros. They don't have standard Dynasty.
Honestly,
rankings.
I think I might take AJ Brown in the pick.
There.
I don't, because like Jamar Chase scored. Well, they both scored a lot of touchdowns. AJB and Chase.
So last year they were within a point of each other per game. So 13.1 for AJ Brown and 12.4 for 12.4 for AJ Brown and 12 for Jamar Chase. Like,
don't you get these?
Was that standard?
Yes.
That's interesting. Yeah, but also, you did points per game. Never mind.
I did.
Yeah. I'm still taking Chase because I think I do something better with Chase if I'm gonna do this. If I'm gonna move off of Chase, I'd rather not have to think about it this much. If I'm going for Chase, I would pay that for Chase because I don't feel anything about it. Yeah, and then get something better for it.
In a 1 QB start 8, would you trade the 103 for King Henry? No.
No, you shouldn't have to.
I have the 101 and 4 boats. Wide receiver, Chase Lamb, Waddle, and Wilson. Love the reference. Love the reference, JCast. Thank you very much. We're creating our own little shorthand. I like that. No,
and I love it because I knew exactly
Henry's
what he meant.
So much lower than that right now. Like, the reason Henry was interesting for me in my running back article is he's trading for nothing like that.
That's really what it comes down to. Like, if you like, you don't want to just hold on, because here's the thing. You also aren't necessarily, assuming you have an active enough league, you aren't drafting for who's going to be on your team. You're also drafting for who you can move around and who you could do something with. So if you do grab Addison at the 103, because I'm assuming Bijan and Gibbs go 101, you know, Addison gets 12 targets the first 2-3 games, you'll be able to move him pretty easily for a running back plus, you know, or like for Derrick Henry plus a decent amount. I understand the want to get Derrick Henry in this league, but man, there's a price, and that's
Henry's the right process to. You're on the right process of finding running backs, but if you're looking for points, which you are if you're looking for running backs, I think if Derrick Henry's framed for this, you investigate, Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, go for the ones that might not be carrying that King Henry level. Kudos.
I would be much happier just drafting Addison, and then
what? Derrick Henry a few days ago. Like, this was yesterday in a 12-team PPR Superflex league. Derrick Henry and a 4th round pick traded for Cam Akers.
Well, they didn't draft a running back, so Cam Akers is a workhorse.
Right.
I mean, he is a value, but Cam Akers is someone I'd rather go after JCast at his value than Henry at the 103. But like, that's just a silly trade. He also traded for, actually, maybe I'm wrong on Derrick Henry's value recently. Derrick Henry straight up for James Cook, Justin Jefferson, and a 3rd. This is insane. I don't understand the trades that have been happening recently.
Didn't they draft Zach Evans, or am I wrong? Was that the Chargers?
The Titans drafted Tyjae Spears.
No. I was talking about the Rams. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, they did draft someone. I don't have J Mike's sheet open right now. I love that he does that. I use it so much. NFL draft pick.
On the other hand, you've got Derrick Henry for the 106 and Derrick Henry for the 111.
Yeah,
he's just not. This is too
round
much.
6,
No matter what
38.
any crazy guys are doing.
Yeah. Zach Evans at the very, very end.
You run the right. I want to highlight you're definitely looking at the right players, but if that's the value you're being told by your league mates are being held at, then they're the wrong players. If that makes sense, that's the way I try and merge ADP to what my league mates think. They're perfectly right to value Derrick Henry. He's great. He's going to score points. He's a king, for goodness sake. But that makes him not the right guy to go looking for you in the league. But yeah, have I got a serious lag going on or what? Dag Nabbit, Zach, currently on the clock, 302, 14-team league, Musgrave and Tucker Craft available. Is that a gelato kind of a decision?
No, I don't. I would rather have Kraft than Musgrave. I'm not a big Musgrave guy.
Yeah, me too. I mean, how can you... I don't know how to be a big Musgrave guy. He didn't do anything.
So,
like trying to decide if Anthony Richardson's a good passer. Like I didn't see him do it. No.
Well, no, like he's a good field stretcher. Like he can get downfield. He can find holes in zones along the sidelines. But in terms of like getting on the field and staying on the field, he run blocks like he's pass blocking, where like he gets up straight and gives up ground, which is not what you want to do. Oregon State ran completely to the other side whenever Musgrave was in.
Ooh,
which again, that's not, as an NFL tight end, that's not what you're looking for. And he does an awful lot of making contact with defenders and then being unable to separate after he's done that in route. And so, like, man, give me Kraft all day.
I think Kraft is just a better unknown in general. He didn't have stats from where I dragged them from, which I assume means he didn't play in this CFB or whatever. But I don't care. That's a better mystery than what Musgrave is. Can I ask you quick? Laporta, for you, I can't remember what you said about his blocking. He doesn't block. He's bad at blocking. He's really good at it. Where did he fit on a generic scale?
I don't have my notes for him right here, Peter. He was
okay.
Fine.
No problem.
Like,
I can ask you another time. I was just
I had him graded out as, I think he ended up as my tight end 1. Like, I'll take Laporta,
but that doesn't mean necessarily he was great at blocking.
Right? No. And they don't have to be like fantastic, but like in order to be on the field as a tight end. As a tight end, and especially if you're getting down in the red zone, you have to be able to do that. But you have to at least be able to chip block and then get out.
Gotcha. Hope everyone is doing well. I think we are. Thank you very much. Hit that like button, y'all. Hey, good reminder. Thank you. I always forget to do that. Senior Long Johnson, if Pitts doesn't break out in year 3, he's already broken. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Didn't he do that in year 1?
Do you see the... Yes. Do you see the community losing faith in him? I think the community has progressively lost faith, which is why he's somewhat of a reasonable speculation in Dynasty right now. Like, he already went down. That's fulfilling our prophecy, I'll point out.
He came down to earth where he should have been.
Yeah.
He...
Gonna leave for a second and come back.
He had over 1,000 yards. Why did Peter run away? He had over 1,000 yards his rookie year. Okay, he caught 1 touchdown, which absolutely looks bad on fantasy points. But so, like he did really, really well for NFL standards. And even last year, in a really, really weird offense, he did well for what he was on the field for, and I was actually very happy they shelved him. Like,
he came in and immediately filled the Julio Jones red zone role of not being targeted.
But never picked doesn't sound as good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he broke out year one. He had like 1,000 yards. If that's not a breakout for a tight end, then nothing is. If he can fulfill the prophecy of being the next big 3 tight end, is the next question. And yeah, it's just can the offense get better? I left, by the way, because I had like a 30-second delay there. I'd say something, and you guys would hear it about 30 seconds later.
No, we just were ignoring you.
Oh, that's also a possibility. I would have appreciated a heads up though before I, left the studio. But whatever. Where were we? Thank you, Senior Long Johnson. Fox Valley Wrestling, 1 of 2. Okay. 12 teams through flex tight end premium PPR start 11. This is a team. You don't want me to read it, so I won't.
Is it ironic that the 1 of 2
I think
is
the question is
1 of 3 1 of 2s?
Yes. Is it a really good process to take a QB at 104? Managers won't give up the 105. You can't trade back. I'm wondering if I should take Gibbs or JSN over Stroud. Trying to contend. Thanks, guys. Love the show. This is actually something that shocked me with a more best ball. Not that he's just best ball, but talking to Pat, he's got Gibbs above Stroud. Stroud falls behind some of the position players. I kind of get it when you look at the redraft ranks and think about expectation year one. But again, it's about whether you're competing and how strongly you think you're able to make moves. Like for me, I just take the quarterback because I think Stroud's a pretty good prospect. But it's not crazy. I'll say that to start with. You're definitely not crazy for considering.
So it's your league, and to me, it's a draft for value, trade for need asterisk. If your league is not a league that it facilitates trading, then go get the player that you want on your roster because you're going to have them rostered.
Yes, very much so. That's a good point too. I would also say they do remember. Like that's what I rely on because I don't have a strong ability to make these moves or take advantage of the micro markets quite as much as I'd like to. Like they will remember that think Jared Goff right now. He was trash after the trade, and now he's just that solid QB value. Your league mates, when they need it, will come back to, oh yeah, I actually need those things sometimes. And Stroud's, I think minimum is a very solid quarterback in a super flex. That is the process pick. But again, know your league, as well as knowing, your ability to make trades, and the answer's in there somewhere. I take the quarterback. I honestly think that's a default process, but you're not crazy for thinking of it. I can't advocate for JSN there, especially where we don't expect a lot year one. I think there's much more upside or consistency in taking the quarterback over JSN. But Gibbs is an interesting one.
Yeah, because like your point is saying you're trying to contend, so taking the dude who we're not expecting to score as much points year one, even though long term could be the right play, doesn't really make sense in the scenario you're spinning. So
good context.
You take Gibbs.
Yeah, Gibbs would be the right choice there if you were going to not just go Stroud.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's a really good point that we haven't talked about a lot. Like we're saying JSN won't do a lot year one. He will do something. Like Zach said, he won't do a lot for fan. We've been blessed over the last few years with great rookie seasons, but go back and look or read content from DeAndre Hopkins' first year. It was seriously disappointing, even though he didn't drop in ADP, because we know to expect that sometimes. But I seem to be exasperating Russ like really badly, so I'm just going to shut up. I thought it was an interesting point that he just made.
It's a fantastic point, but I am up in 2 picks in a rookie draft, and the 2 picks that just happened were Rashee Rice and Roshan Johnson.
Oh, rough.
You're also up in 2 picks in a rookie draft, and the last 2 picks were JSN and Gibbs.
I have no drafts going. Stop giving me draft FOMO.
So
terrible.
I think I'm too high on Hendon Hooker.
No? Why?
Too high on the hooker? Okay.
I'm way too high on hookers. Because I've taken him. He's been taken in 2 trade addicts leagues.
Mm-hmm.
One at 16 and one at 20.
Yeah.
They were both me.
I'm taking him mid-second. Yeah.
My pick's at the 209. We're on the 207 right now. My pick's at the 209. And Hendon Hooker is still there.
Yeah.
I could look it up again,
Josh
but I think he's
Downs
falling to the third,
is-
fourth pretty consistent.
Tank Bigsby, Josh Downs, Jonathan Mingo is still. What the hell is happening in this draft? Addison Kincaid, Quentin Johnston, Levis, Zay Flowers, Laporta, Charbonnet, A-Chain, Michael Mayer, Kendre Miller, Roshan Johnson, Ty J. Spears, Rashee Rice.
Tajay Spears is another one that's kind of getting lost. I know there's a big concern on him. He might be just the thing models get wrong, but he looks pretty decent.
All right, so I don't have any Mingo yet, so I'm going to put Mingo above Hooker on this one.
I love the way you prioritize based on, roster percentage. I don't have any of that yet. Like a
when
trading
you're in
card
24 leagues, you get that leisure.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I'm going to try, because I have the 208 and 210. I'm going to try and trade for the 209 so I can just take 3 in a row.
All right.
So I can get
Good enough.
Mingo, Hooker, and Bigsby.
Man, that sounds like a good selection. Two
Oh,
tanks.
cool.
Get the other tank, or you're excommunicated.
2-9 and 2-12.
2 tanks.
Sorry, I'm just going to be giddy about this.
Anything else for Fox Valley here? Like, I think I just talked around the issue. It's really your choice. I take Stroud, but taking Gibbs isn't crazy. Taking JSN is probably too far. I think that's about it.
What it really, 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 really comes down to is a combination of what we've all said. Zach is absolutely right. You know your league. And if your league either A, does not value Stroud there, then taking him is the wrong move because you won't be able to move him. Because you're taking him there because he's the value. But if he's not the value to your league, like that's the kind of trap a lot of people fall into. Like in a startup draft, you're like, dude, this guy's available in the 6th when he should have been drafted in the 3rd. I'm going to take him and then trade him after the draft. You won't. Your league let him fall. No one picked him. It went through 3 times and no one picked him. It's not the value you think is going to be there. And that's the same thing you have to think with Stroud. Either you, since you can't trade back, you need to figure out if it's they just don't want to pay to trade up or if they don't like Stroud. And if that's the case, you take Gibbs. But other, like, not even taking that into consideration
Again,
whatsoever.
you can also just, they will remember.
Just take whatever freaking player you want, man. Like, you don't have to be quote unquote right.
But
When it really comes down to it, like, okay, maybe you don't take Marvin Mims at the 104, even though you like him. That might be a little silly, but like if we're talking about Gibbs at the 104 instead of the 105, even though the 104 should be a quarterback, who the hell cares? Just take him.
I mean, we're holding a stream. The idea behind which is we try and give answers, but also, you don't really need any answers. So, no, I think there is a process worth exploring to help make your decision there, and hopefully we talked about some of it. Steb, have the 102 desperate at QB, which doesn't matter, but thank you. You only have Ritter, which means you have no QBs. Just to point that out. Can't decide if I should take YOLO, Richardson, or take the safe choice at Young. I thought John Hogue on the Superflex Super Show, which I hate, and I hate him, and we're enemies, and you should definitely not go follow him immediately. He had an interesting thought on that. He said Richardson's someone you should definitely take if you already have a QB1, because you're looking for the upside at your QB2 spot. And I think that's a similar thing to your saying here, Steb. But that's exactly why I don't. That's why I'm like, I have Richardson at 3. I don't tend to take those shots at QB. I don't know, with that type of profile, so I don't. I would take Young. I would take Stroud.
The safety of Baker Mayfield and forego the upside of Lamar Jackson. Absolutely do it. Just forego the safety.
Well, if you're allowed to call the safety pick,
forgo the safety
Baker Mayfield
of
instead
Darnold.
of Tua, instead of Patrick Mahomes, who also looked definitely efficient. And this is like there are lots of good players.
Would you rather have?
Can we also name the Richardson pick a terrible example?
Would you rather have
like,
Tua
that's an
or
unfair
Hurts?
comparison a little bit. Hurts.
But it's not the comparison is not the players. The comparison is the rushing upside, which
Yeah.
is miles above. They've already spent
Okay, so let's compare Anthony Richardson to Hurts and to those passing running backs, all of whom passed a lot more, so we had a much better idea of how good they were at passing. He didn't do that. If he didn't do the thing for me to judge, then I just don't know. Saying he's Hurts or anyone is just an unknown. It's just that would be great. Yeah, sure.
I mean, Peter, it's all unknown. Like we can go around about this. Like it's all unknown. But.
All right, I got to go message.
But
I'm glad I got to actually spend some time with you tonight, unlike last week. So
you got to go stuff some more cheese. We get it.
Yeah.
Good night, Russ.
But yeah, I think it's a fair question, and Richardson's upside as a safe option. But to Zach's point, and that's why I don't have him there, because if you think he has that upside, if you can make that comparison at all, then you should just take Richardson. I don't think again, part of the reason why me and John Ho are frenemies is that we don't think alike a lot at all about this. And I think you either are in on taking Richardson or you're out. It's that simple. And so don't take him just because it's a YOLO, but also don't not take him because it's a YOLO, if that makes sense. You have to make the decision.
What's the worst possible scenario if Richardson doesn't hit?
I don't know, man. I honestly don't have a list of
no. Like if he's nothing, if he's Trey Lance and doesn't play, then if you
he played 5 games,
but if let's say he didn't play, you earned the 102. Mm-hmm. Your team didn't get any better. Like again, like to me, yeah, it's not ideal, but you kick the can down the road a year and then run it back. Like, but if he hits, like it is. It's Hurts, it's Fields, it's it's that. I mean, even Fields didn't throw the ball at all this past year, and he was fantastic. Now, Chicago literally threw the ball the least amount of times in the NFL by a factor. Like they didn't throw at all, and Fields was still a top 5 quarterback. Like to me, that's the swing. Like,
yeah, but I think those guys are actually pretty good at passing the ball. That's why they're able to run that offense fairly well, even at low passing volume. It's not that the rushing doesn't provide that ceiling that you're talking about. It's that being on the field and having the job, even at a low passing volume, is kind of indicative to the fact that they're capable. And Malik Willis is a name that jumped off the head. He hasn't had games to start because he's not.
He did. So here's the difference between a 5th round pick and a 1st round pick. It's 4 rounds. Well, like they didn't draft.
Okay, but I don't think
to start.
I don't think the floor is he never passes and therefore he just runs and that's pretty decent. I think the floor is he doesn't play because he can't pass. I don't know if he can pass, but if he can't pass, if he isn't as good as Hurts and Fields and those are rushing and Lamar at passing the ball, which some people think they're bad. I actually think they're pretty good passing quarterbacks.
They are fantastic.
Then he won't be running that low passing volume offense. He just won't be running it. It will have been a miss. It will have been worse. Worse.
And again, for fantasy, that sucks, but then you have a high pick next year.
Yeah. But I think Young and Stroud's upside is pretty decent, even if it's not Lamar and Hurts. There's still a really decent cohort of upside players there. Also, we kind of overemphasize the rushing ceiling. Like the best per game quarterbacks we were playing in fantasy last year, while it was Hurts and while it was Lamar, you still got lots of passing quarterbacks, especially down the stretch and especially during stretches in the season that are actually providing that value through passing.
It was
and a little bit rushing because
it was 11 of the top 12 fantasy quarterbacks ran for over 350 yards last year.
Mm-hmm. That's 11 quarterbacks, dude. That's not the 3 quarterbacks we just talked about with an insanely high rushing share.
Okay.
Like, they need to run, but that's why, I can't remember which, one of them ran 8% of the time, one of them ran 11% of the time, which is within the margins. Most Like Trevor Lawrence ran like 12% of the time or something in college, or scrambled, or however you want to define it. Like everyone's running a little bit. But anyway, yeah, it's a debate. I mean, you really just gotta you gotta plant your flag, and the upside of Anthony Richardson is definitely bad. James Tucker, do you feel Charbonnet is really a top 4 rookie in single QB? Is it a steal at 110? I don't think he's a top 4 rookie. No, I don't really think he's a top 4 running back this year now after the draft. So at 110, according to ADP, that's where you have to take him. I'm not a fan. I think he's good. I think he can eke out a workload there and be impressive on it. But I don't take him there. There are other. I'd rather take A-Chain at 110.
I'd rather take A-Chain. I'd rather take Tank Bigsby. I'd rather take Kendre Miller. I'd rather take Roschon Johnson. Honestly, like I would rather take. I would rather take.
No, I agree completely. Bigsby's being drafted even later though, and so's Roschon. So like you can get extra picks in the second or whatever to take him. But
right,
I don't think it's a bad pick. I'm just saying I would draft someone else for these reasons. But James, like Russ keeps saying, you can honestly make your own decisions. We get plenty wrong, and we'll argue about that too. But yeah, I think we're all on the page of taking someone else above Charbonnet, given his landing spot. And it's not just his landing spot or his draft capital, as Zach said. That doesn't change who we think he is, just changes the situation he's in. And the others were fairly similar in talent and just have better pass to opportunity. Trey Cobb, 12-team Superflex, half-point tight end premium, or 0.5 tight end premium. QBs are Lamar and Watson. Tight end was commit. I traded the 103 and the 203 for Mark Andrews. Oh, I kind of like that. Oh, it's a Superflex, though. That seemed high. He also got Jahan Dotson, though.
I don't mind. I mean, like it's a little high.
Big argument there about quarterbacks, but
that's
Stroud at least, right? Stroud at least.
Yeah, that's probably young. Or for you, yeah, it's
whatever
Stroud at least. Yeah.
I actually have him higher than Young, but yeah. Oh wait, I see what you're saying. Sorry, forgot. Carry on.
Oh no, but like in a tight end premium league, Andrews is or should be a pretty good difference maker. It's not awful, Trey. Like I'd probably still rather have the 103 and 203 because I think I can get a tight end at 203 that I'm willing to like. It's better than Kmet, but I don't like getting Andrews and Jahan Dotson is not it's not bad.
Yeah, Andrews is one of the few players that can make that viable. It's not bad. I think it was a lot though.
Yeah, I mean,
James Tucker, should Richardson or Young, Stroud, Richardson or Young, if rebuild or just trade bait? I mean, depends what the offer is. I mean, draft the best player per your own ranks or someone else's. Or if you get a monster offer. If you're in a rebuild, you just get to value the value, if you know what I mean. So if you get exactly the right value, you can trade the player. It's all about what the offer is. JRock 17, 16-team Superflex lineup start 9. Had an inbox offer that I smash accepted earlier today. Always nice when that happens. I received Jalen Hurts and I sent Goff and the 112 and the 205.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Smash.
Yeah, I like that. I take Hurts for that. 12-team Superflex gave the 108, the 208, and a 24 first and 24 second. Received Kyler.
I think we did.
Got to the
did
end.
We do this one already? We like
it
Kyler.
Seems similar. We like, I like Kyler in this one if it's different, so that's cool.
Yeah, I think there may have been like extra.
Super Cooper, I have one. Yeah. I have the 16th overall pick and a super flex. If Charbonnet falls, that's crazy to me. Do I take him or do you prefer Herndon Hooker? I really haven't considered drafting Herndon Hooker a lot. I haven't ranked, but I'm not overly keen on it, so it might be more of a question for you. That seems too high. It seems okay for Charbonnet, too high for Hooker for me, 16th overall. I'd rather take a shot on tight end in that range, probably. If Laporta's there, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather take the shot on Laporta or Mayer, but that's not very much higher than where I would go start thinking about Hendon Hooker, and I think I would take Hooker over Charbonnet.
Yeah, that's strong, but I kind of I really have to reconsider my quarterback ranks because I don't consider them enough.
Well, so I had Hendon Hooker as my quarterback 3, like film grades. So again, that's not fantasy ranks because that factors in draft capital and it factors in the fact that Anthony Richardson is ridiculous with his legs. Richardson was my 5th quarterback graded, but it's like Lamar Jackson was my 4th quarterback in that class, but the 1st for fantasy. This, to me, Hendon Hooker was the 3rd best. It was Young, Stroud, Hooker. He landed in a pretty good spot where he's not expected to come in and play this year. Has a fairly, I mean, if everything breaks right, that's a great spot for him. So I don't mind Hendon Hooker. And I think Charbonnet, to me, in Seattle, is a running back. I mean, your short shelf life, and it's going to take an injury for him to be what you want him to be.
Thinking of best and worst case scenarios, like the best case scenario here is that both healthy because we don't want them to be hurt, and he ekes out like 30% of a 50% committee, and he's a between the chains grinder, and it's great, and he'll be good at it, and it'll be great for the team, I assume, outside of the value that adds to win expectation. But it's not great for fantasy at all.
And like, to me, Hendon Hooker in Detroit, again, like Goff's contract and the way they've set this up, they can start looking to reset. And if Hooker does well this season, he rehabs and he learns the playbook, and he does that whole carry the clipboard and learns from Goff, and they decide that he's the guy, like getting handed the keys to that offense.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, even Goff looks good in that offense.
As
a Colts fan, is Josh Downs hype too high? Maybe if you're listening to me, definitely. It's definitely too high because ultimately his ceiling is kind of capped. And like, I forget, he's gone in the 3rd, I think, is the reasonable pick to spend on him, maybe a late 2nd. And I have him ranked 10th overall. That's just too high. That's why I don't do a draft board of how I draft. I do a draft board of who I like the most, top to bottom, and then let's look at where they're actually reasonably likely to be going and try and make decisions on it. That's why I do the draft board the way I do. I think if you understand what he is, what we think he is reasonably, and apply that to fantasy and don't get too, then it's not too high, but I'm probably too excited about it. The most excited I've been is actually you, Zach. You were comping him. Well, you didn't comp him. You said when you were talking to Jake on the draft show before I got there, you said essentially the way he wins, like the only guy you could think of was Brandon Cooks, a small guy that plays the slot but wins downfield.
Yeah.
And that's not a comp that I've heard before. And I know you weren't comping, and we don't like comps. But that's the upside, Brandon Cooks. And Brandon Cooks ain't Mike Evans. He ain't Odell Beckham.
No, but
I always have
really
like
good.
Tyler Boyd for the slot guys in mind. Yeah. Oh, yeah. For multiple, and still is, really. So a top 24 wide receiver, as long as you know what that means, what I'm trying to say with that, like a Tyler Boyd, he's good. He's starting. You're getting him at a pretty good value. I do think there's a little upside in that, and that's why I was bringing in the Cooks comparison there a little bit. It's still a top 24 guy, but it's not just Tyler Boyd. And then the hype can't be too high. That's what I hope he can be. I don't hope he can be Mike Evans. I don't hope he can be Jalen Waddle. But I think where he's going in drafts, like I'm pretty excited about what he could be in the NFL. And I think he was good in college, good enough in college that I think he really has a good shot at doing it. But Zach, please, someone.
Well, no, and so the other thing is if Anthony Richardson does not develop into a passer, you're not going to have to worry about Anthony Richardson at quarterback for Josh Downs, because like he's going to have to throw. Like he's going to have to throw. He's going to have to develop into a passer. I think he can. I think he showed enough that he'll be serviceable. So, takedowns where
I guess the other spot of this is don't worry about this. Don't worry about the situation so much when you can bet on the player. Like if you like that kind of upside for a player, and if you think Downs has that, then just value that. It's AJ Brown is the most positive example we can come up with where the player made the situation. But even Tyler Boyd got 600 yards in his first year, did nothing in his second year, and then broke out in his third year. Like, situations change. We're trying to find the best players that we can take advantage of positive situations when they emerge, rather than just drafting the situation. And you've got to keep that in mind as well. Hopefully, I really do hope Richardson can be a good passer, because I think Hurts and Lamar Jackson, I think these guys are all really good at passing the ball relatively. And if you can do that, the upside's the moon. And if you can't, there's a Jared Goff coming, or there's an aging Matt Ryan who can at least show something of stability. There's a bridge quarterback somewhat. Situations change. We try to draft the players. That's the only other part of it I can think of there. But it might take a second. Are you guys serious? Can't tell Flowers from Addison? No, I can tell Addison from Flowers, and I'm much higher on Addison. I just got his landing spot confused there for a second. Yeah, that was me. Sorry, I had a moment. Minnesota.
I'm over it.
What happens to A-Chain's vacuum? Dalvin Cook inevitably ends up in Miami. Yeah, I think that's the best response there. Probably just over it. I just landed some Boudet and Kuntz late in the fourth round. Are you still interested in Kuntz at all?
Come back in an hour. We can't put that in prime time. That is got to come back after midnight. The grind after dark.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Congrats, open 24 hours. James Tucker, 10 teams, start 10, 1 QB, contender. The 101, the 105, and the 106. Hold or trade the 106 for Pierce, maybe? Pierce, and a late 24 and 25 first. Mock projects Zay Flowers or Charbonnet. Again, at that point, unless Kincaid goes, no tight end premium, just standard. Yeah, that's probably too high for Kincaid, and definitely too high for me. For my money, for Zach Wine.
I'd rather have Zay Flowers at that point than Damian Pierce.
I think it's a great pick there.
Yeah.
I'd
hold it, like at least hold it until you're on the clock, James. And if there is Zay Flowers or say Quentin Johnston falls, or there's somebody there that you're interested in, make that pick. If not, you can always trade out.
I'm not sure that trade goes anywhere on the clock, no matter who's left over. So you can probably do that.
Yeah.
I projected early first in 2024. Got from a bottom 3 team last year. Would you hold the pick or try to trade it plus something for Gibbs, Anthony Richardson, Young, or JSN if possible?
It depends on your team. If you're competing, I'd rather have pieces that are going to score me points this year.
How are people so confident their picks are what their picks are going to be next year? Things change, but if assuming you're a bottom 3 team, as you said,
no, the team you got the pick from is a bottom 3.
Yeah. It really depends on what your team is.
Yeah.
Like, I think trading up is the move in this draft. Like, I really want into that pick range, and then you take the best player available. That's my standard answer here. So try to trade up to get one of those, your favorite quarterback or Gibbs, or your favorite wide receiver for sure. That's the first thing I try to do. But if you can't do it at value, you're just holding it. It's another one of those, unfortunately, I have to say, it depends what trade offers you get on the table, as it were, to make a decision. But I definitely try trading up.
Hold on, this one's
Trading
for you.
in.
This question's for you. I don't remember that.
I remember drafting N'Keal Harry over everyone back in the day. Yeah. Biggest miss I've had in Dynasty. Not my biggest miss, but it was a big miss of mine. So, yeah. I'm pretty sure I've missed hard on that. Probably not. I guess Penny counts as a bigger miss.
No. N'Keal was bigger.
Equal?
Yeah. Okay. No, well, like Penny has been good when he's been healthy. N'Keal Harry has
just you wait. No, we're done.
N'Keal Harry made 4 nice blocks.
But those blocks, though,
yeah,
they're pretty good.
I'm glad I got AJ Brown in that draft.
That was pretty good. 10-team 2 QB league. I'm a contender. Received trade offer of the 103 and Cup for the 106 and Devontae Smith. 103 and Cup for 106 and Devontae Smith. 2 QB league, so that 6th pick is much more valuable.
I would trade Ken Walker for the 104 absolutely right now.
Oh yeah, sorry, I missed that bit.
No, that was
Ken
the
Walker's
second part.
Definitely do that second bit. The first one still has me held up though. If you have let's see, Gibbs.
Well, it's probably not. It's a quarterback and Cup for. Whether it's Gibbs, it's probably Addison or JSN and Devonta Smith.
I don't know.
I think I'd probably I'd look at my team. I think I'd probably go the youth on that first one, but the Ken Walker one absolutely do tomorrow, today, yesterday. Anytime.
Yeah, the Ken Walker one is a walk-off win.
Yeah, get a quarterback
first one,
for Ken Walker.
It makes me dither, but I think only the 6 and Smith are worth it. Yeah. I hate not taking Cup, but yeah.
Oh, no, I don't. And again, that one I'm so hung up on. I don't know.
Don't know.
Well,
I'd
have to see Cole. I'd have to see Cole's team. I'd have to see, is Cup going to get you over the hump? Do you need quarterbacks? Because if you need quarterbacks and you make both of these trades, all of a sudden you've got 2 of the 3 quarterbacks in this class that have, upside. And even if Richardson goes at 102 and you get Stroud and Young, when we're talking Stroud and Young and Richardson, it's not like I dislike Stroud and Young. They're very good quarterbacks. To me, they are in that Tua range. Yeah. They're very good quarterbacks.
Cole says Gibbs and Richardson are on the board at the 103. Bryce and Young went top 2. That's kind of what I expect to be the most common, Bryce and Young. And both of those, Gibbs and Richardson, both strong picks after that. It's a really heavy first tier in Superflex this year. It's thick. That's why my default answer is to trade up into it. All of those are good picks. Lincoln was here. P1. Page 1?
Part 1.
Part 1, even better. Okay, so I basically drained my team. Cool. Apart from T, Jerry, Hawk, Calvin, Tony, how much did you have that's what you have left? Everyone else stinks. I have 3 firsts for next year, and I'm currently doing a rookie draft. I have drafted so far JSN, Gibbs, A-Chain, Quinton, Dalton, Maya, Mingo, Rice, and Levi. I'm just going to start calling him Levi. I'm currently on the clock at the 208. Honestly, you're doing a great job so far. I don't see a question. I don't see anything you're doing wrong, apart from drafting Mingo.
Should I go Hooker, Mims? Hold on. Should I go Hooker, Mims, Hyatt, Spears, Tank, or Roshan Johnson?
Oh, okay. Again, all good picks.
To me, it's between Mims and the back 2 running backs.
I have it Mims, just per my ranks, but honestly, I take Tank there. I take Roshan. I don't even mind your Hooker argument. It's a quarterback in a Superflex.
Yeah.
But I have it Mims. Who wins the Super Bowl this year? After draft. Kansas City. I mean, it's just a good bet. But yeah, I have no idea. Mingo is basically Justin Jefferson at this point.
You mean because you can get him at the back of the first round? Because you could get Justin Jefferson at the back of the first round.
That's true. That was fun.
It was absolutely fun.
Aaron LaForte. I'm with Peter. Mingo hasn't proven anything in his profile. Is pedestrian at best. Well, thank you, Aaron. Again, what do I know? I think he can do stuff in the NFL. I think he's capable. I don't enjoy, despite contrary belief, disagreeing with Jake. And Jake likes his skill set a lot in terms of on the field. But again, I just stick with my priors. Most people who can do it earn it before now. But I'm rooting for him. Yeah.
So that's the kind of the joke. The Jonathan Mingo is dim sum. Like that's what that was my write up was Jonathan Mingo is dim sum. That first bite of Hong Shao eggplant is incredible. It's succulent. It's sweet. It's salty. It's citrus. It melts away, lingering just long enough for you to realize that the dish in front of you is empty, and you want more. And that's Mingo. Like
I remember.
Yeah, like when he played, he was great, but he didn't play very much, and he didn't command that offense the way he should. And so, I mean, I'm taking him in the early to mid second, but I'm not pushing him up into the first round.
Lincoln. By the way, no one else apart from the guy I mentioned are notable. Maybe Baker or Ritter might be notable. In Superflex, they're kind of notable, but no, that's fine. Again, I tend not to draft based on what you have. James Tucker. Thielen brings some great mentorship to the Panthers. I think that was a solid move by them. He's a good player. He's going to do good things for them. We can't have dynasty expectations at this point, but he's going to put up some points. He'll have his games. It's pretty good. I don't know. I'm going high pitch for it, but I am. McD, Ford, Wheaton.
Bryce Ford.
Robert, 12-team Superflex start 10. The 111 and the 204 or Jordan Love. I mean, I would get out of Jordan Love for anything with a 1 in front of it, to be honest with you. I mean, again, to my golf point earlier, he's going to have a job for a whole year, and in season we're going to remember that matters a little bit, but I don't have a lot of high expectations.
No.
Sup, fellas? Anyone else drafting Denzel Mims vibes? Getting Denzel Mims vibes from Jonathan Mingo? No. I mean, in the trap variety, but I thought Mims' production was somewhat positive. He was too high in touchdowns. Mingo just didn't get a lot of it. Like, he didn't earn a lot of volume. But I'll take the comparison. Why not? Brendan, give Zappy the 102, the 108, and the 109. Get Hurts and the 201. So it's 3 first-round picks for Hurts and a second, and 2 of them are not in the quarterback range. One of them is. Yeah, just break it towards the start.
So right? To me, it's the top 7, and if you're out of the top 7, fine, but they're not. So yeah, I'd trade I'd trade Richardson's upside for Hurts, because if Richardson hits, you have Hurts.
Yeah, exactly. And you get the 201 as a boost there. That's nice.
201's not that's fine.
In this draft, you can get something pretty solid there. 12-team Superflex 103 or Amon-Ra. That's a quarterback.
It's quarterback. Yeah, it's the quarterback. It's close, but
this goes back to what we were saying about Waddle. Like, it's fine, but it feels like it's a quarterback. Evening, gentlemen. Thoughts on sleepers in this rookie class? And now that the draft has happened, currently drafting and could use the help. Depends what you mean by sleepers. Hate to be pedantic like that, Zach, especially after taking so long to get to your question that you hopefully patiently stuck around for an answer or came back later and listened to. Players that I'm higher than what currently looks to be their ADP on. Stroud, just because he's ranked as a QB3 very often, and I don't see a lot of difference between him and Young, although I'm fully on board with the idea Young is better. That's fine. But I don't think Stroud's a bad prospect, and so I kind of like that. Yep. But he's still really highly drafted, so it's hard to call him a sleeper. I like Josh Downs, as I've talked about a lot. He's going well down the board, and I like him as like the 10th best player in this class, relative to fantasy. Tank Bigsby, big fan, and he's deep down there as well. I think he's in the 3rd. Didn't we say early 3rd? So I like that a lot. Mim seems to be going overlooked despite decent draft capital and the big boost from Scott Barrett talking about him the week before the draft. At least in my little Twitter bubble, that's what was going on. And so Mims has solid upside, DJ Shark level upside. The tight ends in general, actually, this year, draft a couple, especially as you get later. Just take a couple shots on tight ends. Some of them are really interesting this year. In fact, most of them are really interesting. Does anyone stand out to you as a definition of sleeper?
I mean, if we're going deeper than that, again, Zach, it really depends on how deep you want to get. Like a bunch of the players that Peter mentioned are probably 3rd and 4th round picks, which there could be some value there. I'm looking at guys a little later like Chase Brown, who landed in Cincinnati.
Chase Brown's interesting.
Yeah, there's a chance that he can do something there. I like Eric Gray, even though he's with the Giants. Like that's a in case of an emergency break glass, and all of a sudden Eric Gray is really interesting. I think that somebody like, and this is a funky one, but especially if Dalvin gets traded, Dwayne McBride, who is not a pass catcher but is a very good runner of the football, is an interesting one. Tayshaun Boutte is going to be like the
That's
post,
the one I was just thinking of. Yeah,
the post type sleeper, and even and this is you don't have to even draft him, but I picked up Demario Douglas in a couple of leagues, who is a very quick slot type receiver that the Patriots drafted in the 6th round. And maybe I'm crazy for doing stuff like that, but I'll always just have that guy on the back end of my roster.
Looking at just players drafted between rookie 43 to whatever the 4th round is, that's deep sleeper territory in my opinion. 4th rounds don't really matter in fantasy rookie drafts. The 2 players I'm highest on compared to the consensus of ranks right now is Keyshawn Boutte. I'm gonna have to learn to say that name properly. Where I'm 13% higher than the average, and Sean Tucker. So I guess those will be my best answers. Again, that's all medical, and which is scary as heck. But the upside from a 4th round pick to a starting, even a sometimes starting running back, is pretty decent. Both have more off-field concerns than on-field concerns. There might be a pattern there. McD, Rams drafted Evans. Yeah, I got it wrong.
A.T. Perry's another interesting one too in New Orleans.
Yeah,
again, not that, but.
Yeah. I have him a little higher than the consensus, but I still have him in the 4th round just because of what you said. So he's not in the top 2. I mean, Evan Hull and Kenny McIntosh, 4th round players, running backs, decent. What would you be looking for back from the 24 first? Very likely the 102 or the 103.
There's got to be something else for that one.
I think this goes back to what he was saying with
give Zappy 102, 108, 109, get Hurts 24, 201.
No, there was a question earlier about whether they should trade their 24 first or not. And we said it depends on the offer. What we'll be expecting back is, I mean, a 24 first is worth less than a 23 first, so it's an awkward trade to make. So it really depends on what the person you're trading with is willing to value it as. If they're willing to value it as a top 3 pick, then I want in the top 4 this year. Where that tier is this year, to Zach's point, in a super flex, there's 7 players. So I want in those top 7 picks. And then you're looking at a pretty decent trade this year. I think that's probably the best generic answer I can come up with. 10-team super flex, half point tight end premium, start 9. Has a 101, the 104, the 106, the 108, and the 110. He has Lamar, Javonte, Waddle, Higgins, Drake. Gibbs is going 102. What's your thought process on the 104 if Anthony Richardson goes 103? Get JSN, then remainder of Young or Stroud at 6. Thoughts on the 8 or 10? A lot going on there, so I'm just going to answer it as best I can. I think you take the quarterbacks above JSN right now.
Yeah.
So if Young and Stroud are still there, you take the best one for you right there. As far as the 8 and 10 go, that's outside of those top 7 players, which I think are a different class of I want them, but they're still really solid picks this year, and it's kind of pick your poison. What I mean is that's kind of a tier in itself. So per DLF ADP, you can get Zay Flowers, Quentin Johnson, they're at the top of that tier for me. But then you've got Dalton Kincaid if you really want to take a high shot on tight end because you got that first round draft capital. And then Condre Miller, Devin A-Chain, on all these running backs with solid upside. And so there's kind of a tier from the 8 all the way down to, I don't know, what would you say, the 204 or so? And it's just a different class of bets that I want to make.
I think there's a tier from 8 to 10. And then
with Flowers and I
think to me, like Quentin Johnston, Zay Flowers, and Will Levis is a tier for me. And then you're into that
then
next,
you've got
and you could even
I like that better actually.
You could even convince me that A-Chain's up in there, and then it's to the 111. But 110 is really where I'm drawing that line. But to your question, I would, Peter, you're absolutely right. Take the quarterback, take Young or Stroud, whoever you think is the better player. I have Young. Peter takes Stroud. So this is a go get gelato and flip the coin. And then
I will take Young because everyone tells me it should be Young. But it just means I'm more interested in Stroud later if I'm looking to trade into that tier because I don't see a big difference maker. But I'm not a quarterback evaluator. I get it.
Well, and I mean, it's I say this all the time, but it's playing darts blindfolded in a hurricane quarterback evaluation. Like, you can come close, but you know what I do. But then the other thing is, I'm taking Addison over JSN.
I hate how I don't hate that. I kind of get it. Yeah.
I mean, to me, they're similar talents, and if they're similar talents, then why not take the one who walks into the better situation? Now, if it was JSN like head and shoulders above Addison for me, then I don't care. I don't care about the landing spot. I'm taking.
I had them real
JSN.
close,
but to me, they were within half a point of each other in my evaluation out of 100.
The only thing I could think to note is Gibbs is very debatable. Like I could see taking him above both of them this year. Draft capital or something else, and he's a good player. Very good. With Swift going to the Eagles, are we excited for him or trying to tell anyone is in? Well, I mean, we're also in running backs, but I think he's going to do pretty well in the Eagles. Eagles is a really good team. Swift is an exceptional pass catcher at the running back position, and he can run a little bit. It's not bad. I mean, he's like a discount Jahmyr Gibbs, I guess. It's a comparison. I thought that was funny. But no, I would not be desperate to get rid of it. But yeah, I'm always trading for value. So. And running back landscape is due more change than any landscape I can remember ever landscaping. Puff pass kick. Curious what your guys' post-draft tight end rankings are. I know Zach's had said not to spend a first on a tight end. Wondering if 14-team Superflex Premium at tight end, how high of a pick he'd spend on Kincaid.
So Kincaid would not be my tight end one.
That's fair.
It would be Laporta and Mayer over Kincaid. And in a 14-team Superflex, I'm probably after pick 10, I'm in. Like, that's fine. I'll take a tight end in the first round in a tight end premium. We had this conversation, it might have been 2 weeks ago now, because you and Russ both gave me a hard time because I said I don't draft tight ends in the first round except for in tight end premium where that matters. And then I took Mayer in the first round and I took heavy flack. And I'm like, yes, because it's a 1.75 premium.
I'm going to adjust your giving you flack for it forever because every time you have to explain the context, and that's funny. No, that's a good answer. I just took the draft capital because he's got a really solid receiving profile. So if you were interested in my thoughts as well, it's Kincaid, Laporta, then Mayer. Interestingly, though, I'm lower than consensus on Kincaid because I also don't really want to spend a first on Kincaid outside of exceptional circumstances, to Zach's point. But I'm higher than the average on Laporta, who I'm just as interested in, but goes like 17th overall. And I would take him very close to Kincaid. There's not a lot that separates him or Mayer for that matter. And so it looks like I'm more likely to draft Laporta and Mayer because Kincaid is off the board before I look for him. So yeah, again, that's how I try and construct my rookie board because I don't know what order they should be drafted in. So I tend to look at it that way. What after are they likely to be drafted, and then who do I like relative to that? After many trades, I basically turned Herbert and Ingram into Murray, Commit, and a 24 first, 2 25 firsts. Wow. And 2 24 thirds in a 12-team Superflex start 10. I just imagine him dropping the mic. That's a mic drop.
So now,
Sorry, Ken.
Be looking at those 2 24 thirds and trying to trade back into pick in this draft class where you like the player. Like that like I like everything you did. The thirds to me are ammunition to make a trade into a pick that I want to go make in this class.
And it's not necessarily. I think a good point you make quite often, Zach, is you're not necessarily saying trade those thirds into seconds. It's like watch the draft, see where there's a player you really like, then go add them to something and get the player. You can start trying to, like a scalpel in the draft rather than a.
That's it. The tacit assassin. You're there, sniper. Pop.
Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Joe's avatar and screen name is constantly changing. I have a hard time keeping up with it. Shavini. The Browns would draft Josh Allen instead of Baker Mayfield if they could do it all over again. You know what?
Absolutely.
I think you're right. I think they would probably go that direction. Know what really not scares me, but it does boggle me a little bit to how much and how little we know. Josh Allen is good. This is not an anti-Josh Allen take. I don't know. He succeeds. Like, I want to give some credit to the Bills for the way they surrounded him, the way they built around him. Like the Browns have messed up more than one. I mean, so has every team. Option. It always interests me how many players we miss out on because the teams didn't do what they didn't know to. I mean, no one knows the future. Like how many players could have been good or would have been bad. Like it always kind of. It's like thinking of infinity. It makes me kind of nauseous.
To quote Matt Foreman, go and find your Brian Daboll.
Bingo.
Like everybody needs a Brian Daboll.
If A-Rich flops, draft Caleb Williams and Drake Meyer in 2020. I mean, it's a fair point. Yeah. You've always got to re-roll. That's why we look for value. Corey, 12 teams with flex. Would you flick Kyler for Richardson and A-Chain? I want Kyler. Still want Kyler. Like that's a good way of selling maybe a boat for a boat, in my opinion. But I mean,
yeah,
Kyler's
no, I
injuries.
agree with you. A-Chain's not enough of a kicker. To, like if it was like Richardson and Gibbs, now we're talking.
I was going to say that as well. Like that's the thing about A-Chain. He's a little landing spot, whereas Gibbs is all player. If you know what I mean. And that's another way, worse way of saying the difference. And Bigsby over Charbonnet. I get Roshan, but why Bigsby? I'm a really big fan of Bigsby, but I think, Zach, that was you. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of us. But in Jacksonville, I think you are going to immediately come in and see him get carries between the tackles. I think they're trying to make ETN more efficient with that. Like that to me is what that pick is. That to me is, okay, we can't run ETN between the tackles because he's a really good space back. And if we can use him in space and we add a guy who can play between the tackles, we're better off. And then if something happens to ETN, all of a sudden Tank Bigsby is a 3-down back with a bullet, as opposed to Charbonnet is, what are you doing with him to start? And then you're,
So I don't default to value because you shouldn't let me do that when you're talking about my actual rankings. Like he's cheaper, that's why I like him more than my ranking that high. I get the comparison, right? Smaller part of a committee. Why do you like Bigsby over Charbonnet? I think Bigsby is more likely to be the exciting part of that committee. Like, I don't think ETN is everyone you think he is. I don't
Yeah.
think that team throws as much to running backs. I don't think Zach Charbonnet is any more of a proven pass catcher than Bigsby, which to me adds up to I have more receiving expectation for Bigsby in that offense than Zach Wine in his offense. And that's ultimately it. And I think the exciting part of that committee, if there is one, although I can see it being Zach, don't get me wrong, it's probably Walker. It's probably still going to be Walker for fantasy-wise. So, yeah, that's basically why. It's just a mix of... I had them ranked very similarly. Like, I like both of their profiles kind of a lot. Their situations are similar, but one team angles the situation more towards that player anyway. So I go Bigby. Which QB are you taking in this year's draft? All three. The order I've got ranked, which is different sometimes than the order I draft them in, is Stroud, Young, Richardson, just because of a very, very bad basic model that I created just to give myself some sort of order. But I'm always in on being a fan of the small guy, which is, Bryce Young. He was more accurate. I don't doubt it. So it's probably the order I will draft him in is probably Young, Richardson, and Stroud. But I go back and forth. Mostly I'm trying to get out the picks because I don't know. I don't have a strong difference maker. Richardson definitely has the upside to the conversation we've been having. But I think Stroud and Young are both really good prospects. But so are Mariota, so are Winston.
Colin,
I have a great way of deciding which is which.
Colin, just to help you out, I have them completely the reverse order of Peter. So
nice, awesome. I tell you what, the answer to this question is actually in my drafts is probably Levis. That's probably the quarterback I'm drafting this year.
Yeah, because you can get him at 110,
and I like usable. Yeah. Not the best, but it's probably one I end up with more often if I did 200 drafts. And speaking of Lance, traded him to an older team for 26th first, 24 second. 26th first, wow. And Luke Musgrave. And my league really did not value him and wanted off the risk. I don't mind it. I like that. Speaking of upside, that's a lot cheaper than the Richardson upside. I think it's similar. Ace S 10-man Superflex. My running back room is Bajoran, ETN, Gibbs, Swift, Dobbs, Akers, Pacheco, and Gainwell. I like the fact you put Gainwell on the list, like he's still man. Nice. Would you trade Swift with the Eagles trade hype? I would trade ETN. Not joking. But in general, I can't say this enough because there's really no way of telling you exactly you should do this. Running backs are going to change a lot between now and next year. That's always true within a year at running back, but especially right now. Every single running back has significant risk outside of Bijan Robinson, who still has injury risk. And that's it. That's really the one. Everyone else is suspect. Maybe Breece Hall, but we've got to see him come back and get help. Everyone has extra risk than usual. But this is a really good squad. You should probably just try and win with it. But if there's one that stands out to me, it's ETN. I think ETN's the stuff.
ETN and Dobbins are the two that I would be looking to shop.
I'd have Dobbins.
Yep.
Yeah. Corey, and your name is Green, which I don't know what it means, but it looks really cool. 10-team Superflex league, somewhat of a rebuild. I have Stafford, Lance, 102, probably Richardson, taking that swing. The 104, another quarterback. Would you try to flip Stafford or for a Dotson or a Christian Quirk? That's too far down the list for Matthew Stafford, but yeah, you definitely should. You should shop, see what you get, and don't just go because you want a wide receiver. Quite obviously, just go looking for the best deal you can. If you're building, that's all that matters. Go see if George Kittle's value is a little low right now because of Hawkinson and Goddard being placed above him because of age. Maybe he's available. He's an older player, not for a rebuild, but his value is pretty decent. Kyler Murray, that we've been talking about a lot this year. There's a window on him because there's a little uncertainty. He's interesting. The Lamar one's closed, I'm pretty sure by now. But the Kyler Murray window is still open. And all that matters to you if you're building, that's the only fun you get when you're not trying to immediately win, although we should always kind of be thinking that way, is you get to just go looking for the best value. what's going to be worth more or easier to trade in a month, in 3 months, in a year. And that's the only question you have, not particular players. Is that right?
Yeah, no, I like that. I would probably wait and then see if we got hype on Lance.
Ooh.
Again, just because I think you get more for Lance, and if you draft Richardson and Stroud or Young, and you have Stafford as the available backup, you could trade Lance, get more value than what you're getting for Stafford, and make your team actually better without losing very much. That's
a good plan as well. And you can do both as a thing. You can just wait with Lance, and you can still go looking around for trades with Stafford with only that question in mind. I just realized that I didn't say I drafted CJ Stroud as well. Well, just screw you. The team's great. I don't like it. It's fine. 10-man Superflex. My team is Lawrence, Herbert, Bijan Robinson, ETN, Gibbs, Swift, Dobbins, Pacheco. I feel like I've read this team before. He's also got DK, Godwin, Ridley, Sutton, Deontay.
Yeah, this is
Bateman.
the one that
I like most of your wide receivers. Quentin, Mingo,
this one already.
Alec Pierce.
Yeah.
Ingram. Thoughts? Any thoughts on his overall team? Did we do that?
It looks
good.
Yeah,
we said ETN and Dobbins were tradable.
Yep.
Let's see anyone else in here. Alec Pierce, there's no window on him. Your weakest position is tight end. I love Pat Fairmouth. Obviously, I like him more than everyone else in the world ever. But I mean, we have a big three, and he's not in it yet. So that's maybe the only other area. Like, if you're looking for things to improve with, you're taking ETN. Go see what the Travis Kelce owner thinks, what the Mark Andrews owner thinks. Try to get a full value trade there, and you're improving your position at the same time. Seeing as the thought I got. Yep. I mean, keep Muth, obviously, but yeah, still. John, with Kelmore as the OC on the Chargers, could we see Herbert throw 700 passes this year? Quentin Johnson might get more targets than we're working about. I think the players on the team matter more to not that the offensive coordinator doesn't matter. And Herbert throws a plenty. Quentin Johnson has an open road in front of him. And this isn't just hyping Quentin Johnson. Set expectations. If he doesn't do well this year, that is a Quentin Johnson thing.
So I do think that they could throw 700 plus passes this year, based on the fact that Justin Herbert threw 699 passes.
I was just going to look that up. I'm pretty sure it's close. I was like, wait. Doesn't he normally throw for that?
Yeah. So, I mean, like, it's fine.
That's
like,
about what he throws for. So,
and again,
he was great last year. This is back to the when people thought he was bad.
But that's why Quentin Johnston is the 108 for in a super flex, like, for at least for me, like,
and he should. And to my little rant there about Quentin Johnson, I'm expecting him to do well, but I won't make excuses for him not earning some of those tasty Herbert targets.
I still think.
I mean, if I can give up David Bell,
I still think Addison sees the most targets though out of any rookie wide receivers.
I believe it. I love Addison. Yeah, always believe he can do better.
Tank
I hear a lot of people say Detroit didn't.
Oh no, you skipped one. How high are you taking Tank Dell?
Sorry.
That's you. And Hutchinson.
That's for me. Hutchinson right now is a deep pick, I think. Yeah, he's going in the Xavier Hutchinson's going in the 4th round or so.
Yeah.
So I would take him anywhere in the 4th if you like his profile. And I liked it pretty well. It's pretty decent. Tank Dell, obviously, I'm too high on because he's small and his name is Tank, and he was actually really productive. I have him ranked 23rd overall, late second.
Yeah, and I get him early third, so
fairly close to ADP.
Yeah.
So we're not very ADP, but DLF rank.
We're not very far off. I got him early third.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear you are a part of the 2-tank strategy. Puff pass kick. I hear a lot of people say Detroit didn't really use Hawkinson when they had him, so they were down on Laporta. But this doesn't seem to be the case with you two. No, because that case is bullshit. I'm sorry to swear. I don't know if we're allowed to swear on the stream. That doesn't make sense. That's just anti the facts of the things that happened.
I mean, they also used
at the same
Hawkinson.
rate.
Yeah.
As when he went to Minnesota, and he's been a top 12 tight end several times. He's had great seasons, and they went and got a new one because they traded one. And Laporta's a great prospect. I think he's a really good prospect. No, but seriously, that question starts on the premise that Hawkinson wasn't really used, and that's just not the case. So,
I mean, Hawkinson
challenged
two years in a row, or 2 out of, I guess, the only years he wasn't injured, he saw over 100 targets. How about that?
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not worried. This is me.
His target rate remains stable in Minnesota. He's going to do pretty much the same thing in Minnesota, right? He's in Minnesota. Now I'm all scared about where players are because I got one wrong.
No, that's Addison's in Minnesota. No, just kidding.
God damn it. Bobby Ham 87. 12-team half-point PPR starting a massive rebuild. He has the 104, the 110, 112. You're off to a good start. And the 24 first. But I don't have my own 25 first anymore. Well, you have a goal.
No, don't move the 104 for 25 first. No.
That's not an even trade. You can make a trade to get that back. That's a solid rebuild move, but do it at value. And picks from future years are worth less than picks from this year, especially when we're talking about a top 4 class, especially when we have the draft and we know that's literally the premium of this draft class. Next year, it might be the top 3 picks, rarely, but sometimes it's just the top 3 that are premium, let alone in 2025. I'd take Addison, but is he better than the top 2 pick in 25?
So I'm assuming
I would hope that your pick's not top 2 by then. That's number 1.
And I'm assuming that this is a 1 quarterback league.
Yeah, it got to be.
Yeah.
12-team half-point PPR should be.
Well, I mean, if you're taking Addison at 104, it's probably a 1 quarterback.
Yeah, I would rather Addison over a 25 first. It's a simple answer here. But you can go get that first if they're willing to add literally the worth of the 104 on top of it. The 25 first is like the chaser for that trade for me.
Yeah.
As a follow-up, which young vets would you target in a trade for the 104? If I pull up anything, it's going to crash my stream again. I'm writing a value article right now of targets. I recommend checking that out, and I hate to do that to you. I also post it on Patreon and talk about it on Twitter a lot. But it's where I look for players that are working at a value according to DLF rankers, and then I give my own 2 cents. I'm trying to remember who I found at wide receiver. It was a little while ago. I'm going to have to redo it all now that the drafts happen and ADP is going to shift. Wide receiver who showed up. I think it was Jalen Waddle. He's a proven young wide receiver I found a little undervalued relative to DLF ADP and DLF ranks. Deebo Samuel is really interesting. He's not young. And if he can stay healthy, he's proven. AJ Brown, again, he's older than 24. If you don't like that, you won't like him. And you definitely shouldn't.
The problem I run into is the players you're probably able to get with the 104 are players like Christian Watson and Treylon Burks and George Pickens, and I would rather have Addison over all 3 of those players.
Yeah, the top 3 are like Deebo Samuel, AJ Brown, and then Treylon Burks, so you're not talking proven. Then George Pickens, DK Metcalf, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So you've got a mix of not quite young and not quite proven yet. But those are the ones that I'm most likely to send offers on right now. I have to update that for the draft tonight. I think I have to write that article for tomorrow. Ooh, fun. Ace S, on my taxi squad, I have A.T. Perry, Musgrave, Xavier Hutchinson, Dwayne McBride, and Ticker Craft. Nice. I forgot to say I have Jameson Williams and Dubs.
That's a nice taxi squad.
It's pretty good as far as taxi squads go.
Yeah, you're hoping like 1.5 of them hit.
Yeah. Like, 1 would be great, to be honest.
Yeah.
Seriously. On a taxi squad, yeah.
Yep.
G16, weird question. We welcome them. Are you moving on from quarterbacks like Huntley, Zappi, Brissett in a 10-team Superflex where QBs aren't as scarce as a 12-team league? possibly trade them to the team with a starter for a third. I mean, it's always an option, and you're right about the availability is or the value is affected by the size of the league. I think Zappy, is that how you say it? I think he's a different proposition than all these other guys. Brissett may start, to be fair, but Zappy, I think, would have a bigger value window if the Mac Jones can't get along with Bill Belichick kind of rumors are true. And Zappy had a really interesting profile, like Sam Howell. I wouldn't bet big on it, but he did more than you'd think, given where we have him in Dynasty. So I think he's a little interesting. But yeah, always be looking for value. Otherwise, in a superflex, you just roster quarterbacks in a similar way to roster running backs. They're just good things to have on the bench as opposed to depth or sleepers.
And that's the thing is if there's an injury, all of a sudden you have a starter, or you have the ability to trade them to somebody who lost their starter for more. So,
yeah. You just wait for those windows, I think, mostly. Yep. But you can always be shopping for trades, to be fair. If nothing else, you might be developing relationships, opening up lines of communication, or just not being bored in your league, because that happens to me a lot. Shoko, if you want to re-roll the 108 into a 24 first, what would you look as an ad if you were kicking the can? What would you send out in terms of trade offers? If I have the 108 and I'm saying it to other people, I'm asking for like a mid-second and a 24 first, which is probably too much. But see what else I have on the roster they might be despondent about that's around that value is another way of going. But that's basically, I want to trade back and get something later in this draft and a future first instead. That's kind of my first thought. Outside of that, if you want to take slot shots, which is always a bad idea in Dynasty, but I do have some quote-unquote sleepers I like. The 108 is actually a really interesting pick this year. It goes for a decent level of player, but I'm going to go look at what the Rashad Bateman team owner has, and if I could add him to a trade and get a future draft capital. And the list of wide receivers are just listed as well. Or see if I can improve a position. As someone else mentioned, what's wrong with my team or what thoughts you have on your team. I look at the tight end. Is there any way I can improve these onesie positions in this format? And see if that 108 can do that for me and maybe get me some future draft capital as well. So that's kind of I go looking for my rosters of my league mates.
And I don't think you're too high. I don't think you're asking for too much for a mid-second on top of a 24 first. Like if I can get into that Roschon Johnson, Kendra Miller, Tank Bigsby, Charbonnet, that area, I'm gonna be okay giving up Quentin Johnston. If I can't, I'll probably I'll probably just draft Quentin Johnson and be happy.
Be pretty happy on it.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Jelani Woods?
No thoughts on Jelani Woods.
He's more combine than mitts, or however I said it last year. Like he's the one who tested well at the combine, so got some draft capital, but he wasn't a particularly high level receiver in college, so I wasn't interested, and I'm still there. Will there be a value window? Yeah, he's athletic. He got draft capital. He's on a decent team. He could do stuff, and then you get a micro market window. So you're just holding if you already roster him, but I'm definitely not going out and trying to add him as a rule. Bobby Ham 87. How would you take Anthony Richardson in a 1 QB league? That's an interesting question. He's considering him at the 110. I think the back end of the first round is an interesting place to take a shot on that upside at quarterback at that onesie position. Yep. So I think you're in about the right range. Yeah.
And then Bobby also says that all he has is Purdy, which means that I may be trying to trade back into the early second and take one of the other quarterbacks just to have
try and get a young.
Too. Yep.
Yeah. That's a good point there. Shaka also says thank you. Not a problem, man. Just thoughts. Make sure you do you. Bobby Ham 87. All I have is Purdy. But it's so Purdy.
Purdy's all you need. Peter, we did it. We cleared the board.
Did?
Look over there.